Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station live from the Comcast Business Studios. 97.5, The Fanatic. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas. This is Kincade and Salciunas. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Well, tonight is a big night. A big night. The Sixers take care of business. They got their play-in tournament against the Miami Heat. I do not want to feel the wrath of John Kincade, so get that job done. I'm going to talk about a player who there will be a spotlight on. And oh, by the way, Howie Roseman spoke to the media yesterday and said some good things and some questionable things. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
I have to worry about a draft pick from 3 years from now when this team is currently in a mode where they could be competitors.
Hassan Reddick, the return is fairly even. I would have preferred to have this year.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Wednesday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside my man John Kincade. Johnny, good morning.
It is a fine morning as we look forward to a Sixers play-in game tonight.
Hell yeah, we are, man.
Last night didn't end as well.
No, I've already moved on.
Some choice curse words in the Kincade house.
I'm sure. It was very disappointing end of the Flyers season yesterday.
And I did, but...
And, 3 seconds left. Screw you, Montreal, for letting that one sneak by.
That's freaking incredible.
3 seconds left in the Detroit-Montreal game. Detroit ties it, which sends it to overtime. And the second they get to overtime, they get at least a point, which ends the season for the Flyers. So a disappointing night for the Flyers.
I hate Montreal.
Yeah.
Never want to visit Montreal ever again. They couldn't do us a favor.
Well, and this is why I was mad that they lost 8 straight games.
Wow.
If they go 1-7, it's a different story.
And if your aunt had...
Yeah, but they went 0-8 and they collapsed, unfortunately, even though we didn't have high expectations for the season.
They went 0-6-2.
0-6-2, you're right.
Yeah, you got to give those 2 points. Yeah,
they did get 2 points.
That's good.
But it takes away something that would have been really awesome.
Would have been fun.
The spring calendar playoff time for NBA, NHL, where they don't often play on the same day. So it's Sixers on a Saturday, and then the Flyers on a Sunday, and then the Sixers on a Monday, then the Flyers on the Tuesday. We got that robbed of us because the Flyers could not hold on to a playoff seeding. They lose yesterday. We'll talk more about that. But it is Sixers Day and Howie Roseman Day here on Kincade and Salciunas. But, Johnny, the Sixers have their play-in tournament game against the Miami Heat tonight. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about it, about how they should win this basketball game.
Oh, they should.
They should win this basketball game, especially now that the Miami Heat will be without Terry Rozier. They're missing some players. The Sixers are going into this healthy. It is on their home court. It is at the Wells Fargo Center. A win means you avoid the Boston Celtics, so there is an incentive to win this game. I was listening to the overnight show on the way in here. The Lakers beat the Pelicans in their play-in tournament, and the question was, should they have lost so that they avoided the Denver Nuggets, who swept them in the playoffs last year? There is an incentive to winning this one. It's avoiding the Boston Celtics. Get the freaking job done today. You're on your home court. Silence a lot of critics, and just start the freaking playoffs against New York.
And anyone who says to you they want to play the Celtics has not looked ahead at, if you advance tonight, you're playing the Knicks and then the winner of the Pacers-Bucks.
Yes.
The path, the two-team path that you would have to navigate might be one of your most potentially favorable ever.
I said this yesterday when we were reacting, or 2 days ago when we were reacting to the tiebreaker scenario where the Sixers get screwed seeding-wise, even though they had the head-to-head against Orlando, but Orlando won their division. That's why they're the 5th seed and the Sixers are the 7th seed. It bothered me in the moment, but I said this to you 2 days ago. 2 or 3 weeks ago, it might be a freaking blessing that it happened this way.
I love what the Sixers could do, and I don't want to talk about it next series. I want to talk about tonight.
Right.
But I like, if you
it's
said
hard
to me,
ignore the path, though.
But if you said to me, a banged-up sort of never a ton of expectations on their shoulder Knicks team, and then the winner of the Pacers and a beat-up Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, the path is there.
I got to tell you, it is. You can see it. You can feel it. And I'll worry about the Boston Celtics a month, 5 weeks from now.
Right. Literally over a month from now.
Then I'll worry about it then. And if this team wins a couple series, my thought about playing Boston might be completely different.
Right. We'll see.
Exactly.
I mean, if they have Joel Embiid, the best player on the court, right? At times, he can be the best player on the court no matter who they're facing. And if he's playing at a clip where we're going, that's the MVP that we watched pre-injury, and he's going up against the Boston Celtics, and we've talked about this a lot. What if one of their players, not that we ever root for injury, but what if their players tweaks an ankle? Or
Absolutely.
It's the playoffs is a different beast than the regular season. So defense plays harder. That means there's more grueling contact made on player. Look, we've seen it with Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid has gotten banged up in playoff series because it is more grueling. Doesn't mean it can't happen to other players as well on other teams.
And since we left yesterday, the Sixers' chances to win tonight, I would believe, went up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Significantly went up. And there are people actually trotting out there that Miami the ditch. And Miami wants to play the Celtics in the series and doesn't want the other path. And I find that ridiculous.
It is kind of ridiculous, but they had the success last year. Maybe Eric Spoelstra goes, I know how to coach against that Boston Celtics team. I mean, look, Doug Peterson. I know this. You're probably going, what are you talking about? The Rams were the bad boys of the NFL for 3 years. Doug Peterson just knew how to beat the Rams, right? There was just something to it where he knew how to coach well against the Rams. Maybe Eric Spoelstra goes, I know how I can coach against that Celtics team more so than that Knicks team. I just beat the Celtics last year in the playoffs when everybody thought the Celtics were going to wash us in the playoffs. So maybe that's part of it.
Maybe it is. I'm so looking forward to tonight because I woke up with it's
a playoff game.
Not a confidence, but a real optimism. I don't want to call it anytime you're facing Spoelstra, I don't think it's you say confidence.
Right.
But there's I feel very comfortable about this matchup tonight.
It's a playoff game, optimism, excitement, butterflies. You're going to have all those. It's probably another Doug Peterson reference, probably like the Super Bowl. Like I think everybody in Philadelphia was confident when the Eagles were going up against the Patriots, but then everybody knew they were playing Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski and Bill Belichick, so we probably shouldn't have been overly confident.
And if anyone was overconfident, they were probably just pre-gaming with Connor too long.
Right, absolutely.
You're a little too much pre-gaming.
Hey, it happens.
It happens.
It's been known.
But tonight,
I'm feeling so.
Look,
I feel very calm about tonight. Like very, very confident.
As you should be. Now, yesterday we kind of talked about this. Connor and I were trying to tell you that the Sixers should win tonight, but there is a chance that they don't because they're going up against Eric Spoelstra. They're going up against Jimmy Butler, who is insane, right? The guy can go through the motions for 82 games and then just turn it on in the playoffs. We've talked about the switch. We had a caller yesterday that said, the switch. Everybody talks about the switch. The switch is never turned on. For Jimmy Butler, he can flip it like that, right? And then all of a sudden he can turn it on to play off Jimmy. So this is going to be a tough game. Like I don't think this is a game where come fourth quarter you're paying more attention to the Phillies game, right? Like I think this is going to be a game that's going to come down to the final minutes, and hopefully the Sixers eventually pull away. They should win tonight. That's why I'm with you. I feel comfortable, but I do still have the butterflies going into this game.
I do not think it's going to go the way Andrew just described it.
All right, what do you think? A blowout?
Not a blowout, but I do believe the fourth quarter will have many comfortable moments.
Okay.
I don't think this is going to be, it's 2 minutes to go, we're sitting there chewing nails on the couch. I do not believe that is the way that my Wednesday night is going to end.
Oh, I love that because I would like a comfortable victory.
I think that this Sixers team is ready to make this. And it's honestly, if you asked me before this season, in this scenario, a Joel Embiid-led Sixers team in a playoffs versus Spoelstra, I would have said, nah, just like you. What I've seen of Embiid this year and what I've seen of Nick Nurse this year just gives me a calm that I have not had.
Right.
I have not had.
And you said...
And they're a banged-up Heat team.
You said this really well earlier this week, and I wonder if there are more people like you, because you can speak to the beat-up Sixers fan better than I can.
Sure.
I speak to the Sixers fan that everything's great, right?
No, you're not Pollyanna.
Let's see what happens. Well,
but you are extremely, you have the biggest bucket of optimism for the Sixers of any franchise in town.
Correct, because one player can make all the difference.
You think can swing swing the momentum.
Baseball, if a guy gets cold, the guy gets, we saw a whole team get cold. So I think Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, if they just get hot, right, which they're both all-stars. One's a former MVP. Embiid could have won MVP again. I think once it just clicks, they can win a couple of playoff series. It's just things haven't really gone their way and to their own discredit. They have disappeared in games.
Well, there you go.
But you said something earlier this week that the games since Embiid have come back have put you in such a good headspace going into the playoffs. I wonder how many other people that are normally doom and gloom and down in the dumps with the Sixers have had that similar resurgence of faith that you've had.
I think if they are fair-minded, it should. If they're fair-minded, it should. Because what you have to take is not just the games since he's returned. You have to take into considerations the games I saw him with Nurse throughout the year.
Yes.
And to me, those 13 fourth quarters off, mean everything to me up here going, okay, Nick Nurse has a way to implement Joel Embiid that makes him a bigger weapon than he's been in the past. And if you've watched him since his return and you watch how it benefits every single other player on the court, I'm truly excited about the possibility. And yes, tonight, not only to me, it should be a win.
Yes.
It's a must win to me.
Oh, yeah.
If you really want to talk about a playoff.
I don't want to take Boston.
Yeah, if you want to talk about a playoff run, if you want to talk about this team making a run, you got to win tonight.
Right.
And there's no excuses. You should win tonight.
You should.
But in a one-game scenario with you're facing probably the most dangerous coach in a one-game scenario.
And one of the more dangerous players in the playoffs. It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, but he has as many, I don't know. He has many disappearing acts, too, on his resume.
Correct, but he has done – well, yeah, but it's not like James Harden. Like this guy –
I know, I got you. No.
Jimmy Butler has done more than a lot of people in the NBA in terms of playoff success.
I'll take Butler over Harden 100 out of 100 times. But he has had moments where you expect him to sustain something, or you see him and then all of a sudden he becomes a non-factor. So –
Well,
I think
sometimes it's hard being Iverson every single time.
That is the truth.
Literally carrying the team. I know Bam Adebayo is a nice player,
Absolutely.
but it's Jimmy Butler and a bunch of guys, just like Iverson was Allen Iverson with a bunch of guys in 2001. So
we're sixered up this morning. I like this.
You know me, guys. You're listening to the show. You know me. I'm gonna paint my face blue tonight, right? Like I'm all Sixered up. I forgive all the time when it comes to the Sixers. John is more, hey, I've seen the good this season. I'm ready to get excited.
I'm being objective.
I want to hear from you who are like John at 610-632-0975, either on the phone lines or the text line. How are you feeling going to the playoffs? Because I know how the Sixers can trigger some people in this town. Are you feeling okay going into the playoffs? Are you ready to get excited? Are you ready to buy in? Don't give me this whole, I got to see how tonight plays out first. No. Are you willing to go just all in? It's a one-game playoff, and if they win tonight, which they should win tonight, I know we don't want to look ahead to the path, but this path is there for the Sixers to actually make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So are you getting there tonight, or are you like me where everything's beautiful anyways?
Well, you're a absolutely optimist when it comes to the Sixers.
Yes.
And that's a beautiful thing because I do believe, though, there are many more like me.
I agree, which is
like
why I always feel like my back's up against the wall when I'm talking about him beating the Sixers.
Well, that's because history's on the side of the people that are like me.
Yeah, but history can always change. There's future, John.
And I'm going to tell you, I've never been more optimistic that the future has the possibility to change than I have this morning right now.
I'll clip that. I love that. Look, I got a confident John Kincade about the Sixers
that's
today.
That's what I'm feeling as far as my belief system in the Sixers making a run has potential. I don't think has ever been more confident than it is this morning.
Dude, all right, I need reaction to that.
Oh, please.
Are there other people like John where you've never been more confident than you are right now? 610-632-0975. Also, big day yesterday in Philadelphia sports is Howie Roseman and kind of Nick Sirianni spoke to the media. It was basically the Howie Roseman show, and Nick was kind of there. It was like Joe Blanton with the four aces.
Yeah.
They let Joe Blanton stay at the podium, but we all know that he wasn't really going to be asked that many questions. So Sirianni was there, but it was really Howie Roseman, and there was a lot of good things that I heard from Howie yesterday. But there was also some stuff, and we'll run through them. I liked actually a lot of the stuff that I heard from Howie Roseman yesterday, but there's still some stuff that I'm confused by. Yesterday, we opened the show talking about Hassan Reddick because we were talking about the Eagles offseason and whether or not we liked the plan so far, which was offense, with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson thrown in there and the unknown of Bryce Huff. I still think Hassan Reddick on this team, you are a legitimate Super Bowl contender. You're in the conversation. I think losing Hassan Reddick is a big hit on a defense that struggled last year, and now you're taking away your best player defensively. Well, Howie Roseman was asked about Reddick a couple of times yesterday. Well, one of them was it was bitter. It's bittersweet that he's not here anymore. Look, you knew from the beginning, and John said this yesterday, Howie knew from the beginning that Hassan Reddick was not going to be on this team.
I think it's clear. I think, and I'm more convinced every time he opens his mouth. I'm more convinced, but I'm not just saying bad Howie.
Right. I got that.
I've liked the offseason.
But I think it's bull that he said it's bittersweet. Like, no, you're happy with your draft compensation. Well, he was asked about the draft compensation, and Howie's answer just confuses me.
What do you think the upside is for trading Hassan for the conditional pick a couple of years down the line?
Well, the pick's not conditional. We're getting a pick, so I don't really think I understand the question.
It's a third round from a second round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what do you think the upside is for trading Hassan with a year left in his deal in his prime for the pick that you've got?
Well, I think you're asking a question in a vacuum without all the other factors. So, I mean, if we want to talk about all the factors that go into building the team and the resources that we put into each position, we can do that. But I don't think the question's really fair and accurately describes the transaction.
Bit of a pompous response.
Okay, that's I rarely get on Howie for being like. Sometimes people will say Howie's arrogant. Howie's looking down his nose.
Right.
That is a BS answer.
Yeah.
It was a very fair question.
That was a how dare you question me question.
To bring up that a conditional pick, we're getting a pick. I don't know what you're talking about. Howie, I looked at the ESPN article, the NFL.com article this morning from the day the trade was made. The Philadelphia Eagles traded Hassan Reddick for a conditional. It's a conditional. And then
pick.
They lay out the conditions. For Howie Roseman to act like it was appalling.
Right.
That Dave Uram, by the way, asked that question from KYW. For him to act appalled, Dave Uram's not a guy that's out there doing like gotcha questions.
Right.
That is a legitimate question.
It sure is.
And Howie, you acted like a bit of an ass there. And that's surprising because I don't think he usually does that.
Unless maybe he feels the heat about Hassan Reddick. Maybe he's listened to how people have reacted to Hassan Reddick.
That's fine. But
you can't get in your feelings about it.
It comes with the job of taking the heat. But more importantly, the question, it was a conditional draft pick. It is in the story on NFL.com, first paragraph, story of ESPN.com, first paragraph on the trading of Hassan Reddick. By the way, now, pulling up the last thing, Eagles.com.
Right.
I mean, seriously, Howie.
Right, your team's website.
Why are you being a jerk about that to somebody asking a legitimate question? Unless, Andrew, he's got the rabbit ears on.
Well, that's what I think.
And he's feeling like he's taking too much heat. And that tells me he's not telling us the story of why he did what he did.
And look, and that's fair. And he's not going to tell us the whole story, right? Like, let's say it is what you've heard, that it might have been some issues in the locker room.
Might have been.
He's not going to out Hassan Reddick.
No, he's not.
He's not going to go on there and go,
understand that.
Hassan Reddick is a horrible teammate, and we had to get rid of. Like, he's not going to do that. But dude, we always talk about how they're prepped for these questions. They're prepped for answers.
I got to tell you.
I thought Howie Roseman was, and he should have expected Hassan Reddick to be asked about again, especially now that we know what more the terms are, unless he's just tired of talking about it.
I'm shocked because I know the Eagles have a fine PR department.
Yes.
But preparing for press conferences, they do a horrible job preparing Nick Sirianni for them. And that was a bad job by Howie Roseman, a guy I usually don't rip for press conferences like that. He deserves to be ripped for that. That was a disgraceful way to handle that.
And why was he so, like, of course we're going to question it. You traded away your best player defensively, and we all see how good this offense is, and we all see how bad the defense played last year, and you traded away your best player defensively. I think anybody questioning that decision, yes, he might know more than we do. There might be a drop-off in ability because of his age, and he can't say too much. But for you to have a pompous response like that, it's just not a good look.
Why are you turning your weapons on a reporter asking a legitimate
fair question?
That is a legitimate, fair question. And again, Howie, check your own website, check ESPN and NFL.com. It's a conditional pick. Whether you like it being worded that way or not, it was.
That's exactly what it was.
It was.
All right, I promise. We're not going to be, hot and bothered all day today.
It's good.
We're
It's good
fired
day
up
today.
about the Sixers because tonight they're taking on the Miami Heat at the Wells Fargo Center. Can't wait to watch the Sixers hopefully take care of business tonight against the Miami Heat, which then sets the path for them ahead of you. Would love to hear from you on the text line or the phone line, 610-632-0975. You might just be like me where everything's sunshines and rainbows. Let's go Sixers 10-9-8. John is more confident than he's ever been
in the Embiid era.
in the Embiid era, and John is somebody who's a lot more grounded than I am.
Well, man, except for the Hawks year.
Right, and that kind of
And that backfired.
that
badly.
didn't go all that well. So I would love to hear from you. Are you feeling this surge of confidence that John is feeling? Because I know how a lot of people can be with this Sixers team, which is why I'm always, back up against the wall and ready to fight for the Sixers. Coming up next, you'll hear from Daryl Morey. What he said about the potential playoff run for the Sixers with Bob Cooney and Amy Fadula yesterday. You're going to like that. And also something that Howie Roseman said that made me happy. Unlike that Hassan Reddick answer. It's Kincade and Salciunas right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, you on YouTube.
I thought he was talking to me. What are you yelling at the YouTube audience?
Well, because they're always talking crap about us, so I might as well yell back at them.
But you know what they are? They're very loyal. They're very, very loyal.
They're all so sweet.
They are so sweet. And they all listen every single day and they watch on YouTube, which
Yes.
is a blessing to us.
And we love you, and we thank you for watching us every single morning. And
Most days we love them.
Yeah.
Some days we like you.
Yeah, but not all days they love us
Oh,
or even
no.
like us.
No, it depends.
So the feeling's mutual. But
Yes.
thanks for watching. We appreciate it.
Stay with us.
You say it with such. Well, he'll be available in the playoffs.
Yes.
You said that. Joel Embiid, we have no such guarantee.
John, they wouldn't have brought him back if they thought that he wouldn't be able to play in the playoffs, right? They wouldn't have brought him back for one game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's not like that was the first time he ran.
I understand what you're saying. What I'm talking about is when he gets out, then they find out how healthy he really is. He may be in serious pain. And I don't imagine it's easy coming back off of a major surgery and what, 9 weeks off. I don't think that's easy.
But you're talking about how it's not easy, but you want him to play tonight.
No, because
You're almost upset that he's listed as questionable.
No, if he isn't playing tonight, what I'm telling you, I'm not mad at him if he's not
No, I'm
playing.
not saying that you're mad,
But what
but-
I'm saying to you is if he's not playing tonight, I'm not just going to drink the Kool-Aid and go, yeah, he'll be ready for
I'm
the
not
playoffs.
asking you to drink the Kool-Aid. I'm just asking people to be excited for a playoff game or a playoff round.
I'm excited to watch it. If I find out Joel Embiid's not playing at 5:30, I'm sorry if my excitement level's not going to be there.
If he doesn't.
You say it with such confidence. Well, he'll be available in the playoffs.
Yes.
You said that. Joel Embiid, we have no such guarantee.
John, they wouldn't have brought him back if they thought that he wouldn't be able to play in the playoffs, right? They wouldn't have brought him back for one game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's not like that was the first time he ran.
I understand what you're saying. What I'm talking about is when he gets out, then they find out how healthy he really is. He may be in serious pain. And I don't imagine it's easy coming back off of a major surgery and what, 9 weeks off. I don't think that's easy.
But you're talking about how it's not easy, but you want him to play tonight.
No, because
You're almost upset that he's listed as questionable.
No, if he isn't playing tonight, what I'm telling you, I'm not mad at him if he's not
No, I'm
playing.
not saying that you're mad,
But what
but-
I'm saying to you is if he's not playing tonight, I'm not just going to drink the Kool-Aid and go, yeah, he'll be ready for
I'm
the
not
playoffs.
asking you to drink the Kool-Aid. I'm just asking people to be excited for a playoff game or a playoff round.
I'm
just say playoff game?
Oh,
No, yes,
because
yes.
you're not
I
a
don't
playoff
care
team.
about the factual information, John.
You're not a well. No, how about this? If you would win, if the Sixers would lose tonight and Friday,
Yeah, they're out of. They're not a
they
playoff
are not
team.
considered a playoff team this season.
Connor, can I just say playoff
I
game?
think 7 and 8 should be because 7 and 8 were originally seeded as playoff
But
teams.
they won't
9
be
and
that.
10 don't get it though.
But they won't be the 7 or 8 seed, and you have to still get it. They
Well,
didn't.
they earned it for the regular season. The
That
NBA
doesn't
just
ma-
changed things.
That doesn't
Well,
matter.
we called the Flyers game the other day a game 7.
Well,
Can
I
I
just
call
said
this
that-
a game 7?
That's just a mythical thing. You want to call it a mythical game? You could do it.
Game
mystically.
7s exist. I've seen them. I wish I hadn't.
This is
but
a
I've
game.
seen-
This is a game 7 for the Sixers tonight because I don't
Your
want them
most
to
haunting
lose.
game 7.
Because if they do lose, they take on the Boston Celtics, and I don't think the path is all that great for the Sixers. So take care of business tonight. Playing game against the Miami Heat. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. We're all fired up for it, as is Daryl Morey. So yesterday was an incredible interview. Bob Cooney and Amy Fadul were joined by Daryl Morey, and they talked about the here and now. Because they weren't going to start talking about next offseason. They want to let's
talk about
let's win a
now.
freaking championship first, right? So they were talking about the here and now, and Daryl Morey said something that I think is part of the reason why you're confident. Now, you're confident because of what you saw out of Joel Embiid earlier in the season and also since he's come back from injury. But Daryl Morey talked about the upswing that the Sixers are on right now going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it's an upswing. Past few years, there's been some, at least in terms of health and things like that, there was some, negative news right before the playoffs. Now we're on an upswing. We've got, Maxey on his ascendancy. We have Joel still at this peak. I mean, Joel played, when he's been out there this year, he's been better than even his MVP year. We've got a mix of, veterans that have won tons and tons of playoff games, some of them against me and Batum and Kyle. We've got, guys who are showing the league what they can do in the Oubres of the world. And Paul Reed is, really taking a step up here late. So, yeah, we've got an upward trend, and we've given ourselves an extra battle with Miami. But I feel like going into the playoffs, we have everyone playing on a nice upward trend.
I understand, John, why a lot of Sixers fans are always waiting for the next shoe to drop.
I'm glad you do because
we're accustomed
that
to
means
it.
you've been paying attention.
Right, because we're accustomed to it.
Right.
But I love what Daryl Morey said, and he's right in saying it. This is the first time in I don't know how long the Sixers are going into the playoffs on a good note. Embiid's always been dealing with something, right? As we know, he already dealt with it.
Yes,
and
he did.
hopefully he's done with it, right? We saw him, tweak it the other night, but maybe he was held out the final game of the regular season for cautionary reasons, as Nick Nurse said. And so I'm gonna rock with the coach there, even though we will talk to Kate Scott later on today, who was talking about how they were hopeful that he would play in the play-in game. But Embiid's always been dealing with something. Ben Simmons missed an entire playoff. Remember, there was the bubble year. So, and not that I thought they were going to beat the Celtics in that playoff series, but they got swept because they were missing one of their two better players.
That was a gutless.
Yes, yeah, it was horrible. Joel Embiid, 2 orbital bones, right? Like, there's been so much that we have dealt with going into the playoffs that for the first time, I don't know, maybe in the entire Embiid era, because the first year they made the playoffs, Embiid missed, 18 games before the playoffs started? Like, right before the playoffs started? For the first time in maybe the Embiid era, we're going into the playoffs where we're feeling good about the health of this team?
I think that's part of it. But to me, the health of Embiid is still as flimsy as like a wrapper of gum.
It always will be.
So it's always going to give me the heebie-jeebies with that one. But to me, again, it's the combo deal of Embiid and how I've seen him play under Nurse, and more importantly, how I've seen Nick Nurse implement Joel Embiid. And I loved the interview yesterday with Daryl Morey. And I love, that Cooney guy may have a future in interviewing people.
Yeah, he might.
He may have done once or twice. Because what I heard too is that Daryl Morey likes what he's got, without going out and just gushing on people. If I was Kelly Oubre, I'd be looking to buy, not rent.
Right, I got you.
I have a feeling that there's not effusive praise, but it's there. I think Daryl Morey feels pretty good about the cards in the deck too.
And it's funny. I heard Amy talk about this yesterday with Bob. She was on the entire show with Bob. And I love that she pointed out something that I said the day they got Kelly Oubre. It's the first time since Andre Iguodala where you have a legitimate wing player who can catch and shoot, create and take a shot. The Sixers haven't had that. This entire post-process era, they haven't had that because Tobias Harris hasn't really been that guy for them. He's been in I'm never going to defend Tobias Harris, but his roles have been all over the place every single year. Kelly Oubre is the first guy in the Embiid era where they have a legitimate wing player that can create and score, and I think Daryl Morey realized that. And, oh, by the way, that's the direction of the NBA, has been the direction of the NBA, and the Sixers just have been behind the eight ball for it.
Bob kept talking about it, and he's discussed it in middays. The idea that Daryl Morey constructed this team with the belief that Embiid would be back for the playoffs.
Yep.
And he went all in on saying, I think these are the spots. Now, also knowing that they would have a very short runway to get ready for the postseason.
Yeah.
I like the energy. I like how it feels. And I also like
Morey realized he won his bet. He
did. No. I get
gambled
you.
on Embiid coming back, making those trades.
I was going to say I was getting very nervous that maybe we had a scandal on our hands. Is that with the NBA, you never know.
But did you see the update on Jonte Porter?
Oh, it's bad.
A lot of money.
No, it's bad.
He was a VIP member, John.
No, that's bad. And how do I get that, by the way, if someone could call me? I just am very excited because, and I am also something that I know Robert will scold me on later when he comes in for middays. I'm a look-ahead guy, and I see the path that's in front of them.
I see the
opportunity, if you take care of business tonight, that this is a Sixers team that can go on a run.
It is hard not to look ahead. Look, they should have won the Celtics series last year and gone to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, they should have.
But we were looking into that Celtics series going, this one's going to be tough, right? The only other series where you felt supremely confident was that Hawks series, right? Because the Sixers were the best team in the Eastern Conference that year, and it just didn't work. It was horrible how it played out. You look at this path, and you talked about it in the open. Knicks, you should beat the Knicks.
The Knicks are going. Now that's gonna. It's gonna be like a ride on the Broad Street line.
It's gonna
be rough.
I'm gonna say this. I think it'll be more difficult than whoever they play in the second round.
I would absolutely agree with you 100%.
And part of it is style of play. It's Tom Thibodeau as the head coach. He's a very defensive-minded head coach.
Now, the Pacers, if you did advance past them, the Pacers could be a team. I look at the Pacers as a young, up-and-coming team that plays an exciting brand of ball, plays no defense, which immediately tells take the Sixers' chances in a 7-game series.
Right.
But I don't know that they survived the Bucks, even with a banged-up Giannis or a missing Giannis. And they're talking about Giannis missing minimum 2, possibly 4 games of that series.
Yeah, and then if you play Giannis and the Bucks in the second round, he's not going to be 100% healthy.
Yeah, where is he?
Calf injuries. I mean, that's something that you just don't get over. So I love it. This is like the first time I'm like smiling throughout an entire show, Connor. I got excited, John Kincade, about the Sixers.
What are you trying to say about the other shows? We've had fun shows.
No, I've enjoyed the shows. I'm smiling today.
But on Sixers, and Andrew has every right to say that, because on Sixers, I do not share his gleeful.
Correct.
It's always sunny in Philadelphia with Andrew Salciunas and the Sixers.
Yes,
I do not, and I think, and honestly, I look at them when I look at people like Andrew when I hear them, and honestly, I glaze over and go, "What the hell? What world are they living in? Or what dispensary did they hit before or after work?"
Well,
that's what I would ask.
That might be a part of it.
That could be part.
But I'm fired up, man. I'm glad that you're excited.
I am very excited.
He's reaching the energy, Connor. I love it.
Very excited.
Now, we have some texts coming in about the Sixers. What do we got, Connor?
Yeah, we do. A couple people checking in on where they're at right now. Sinclair says they should win tonight. No excuses, but my stance hasn't changed. I will get excited when they finally break through and get to the finals.
Okay, so I've been talking to Sinclair for a while now, and I have been talking to him all season long on social media. I'm glad that he's found the text line. It's a great name, Sinclair.
That is a great
awesome
name.
So he said going into the season that he knew this team would still be contenders, but he wasn't going to get himself excited unless they got through the second round of the playoffs. Whereas I said this year, my approach going into this Sixers season, notice we even played a song. You know what I mean?
No.
My approach was 82-game educational approach. I'm going to get fired up as a fan tonight, right? Even though it's not technically a playoff game.
I get you.
It's a playoff game in my mind,
No, it's going to be a playoff game for us.
So I'm going to go into this blue face paint, right? Maybe I'll do the blue man suit.
Are you actually doing that? Because I'd love to see that.
Maybe. I'll say I still have the face paint when I wrote NOLA on my forehead, so I do have a blue color. I'm going to go all out tonight as a fan tonight. But during the season, 82 games, I took it as an educational approach because I didn't want to go too far in my excitement because what has that gotten me? Just heartache.
Here's what I would say
so I don't blame Sinclair for saying that.
I do blame Sinclair, and him and I have sort of a similar, though we probably have the similar wounds.
Right.
The similar wounds of the mindset. But to me, honestly, they win tonight. There's no excuse for not getting excited about a playoff run, a playoff opportunity, a playoff team with a healthy Joel Embiid. By the way, the most rested Joel Embiid that we'll probably ever see in his tenure with the Philadelphia 76ers heading into a series, heading into a postseason.
Oh, yeah.
So to me, though I understand you, Sinclair, and I absolutely get it, I think it's short-sighted because I'm telling you, I feel different today than I felt. This will be another playoff run here in Philadelphia that I'm home for. I feel better about this one. That one in my first year back in 21 is always going to haunt me with the Hawks.
Well, of course.
That was terrible.
Especially because you left the area of the team that took care of business.
And I hate that.
So I know we have more texts coming in about the Sixers. We'll get to more coming up next. You can climb in on the text line or the phone line, 610-632-0975.
And we're doing a special takeover today by the AACR. Go to 975thefanatic.com/AACR. If you can be generous today, we're very, very excited to have them back as the official sponsor and the official charity sponsor of the John Kincade Show.
Absolutely. I love it.
Kincade Salciunas.
Oh, hey, look.
Thank you, man.
I love it.
Old habits die hard.
Coming up next, along with your text messages, Howie Roseman said something that I think a lot of you will all like, and it's something that I need to realize. But he said something yesterday that a lot of you will like. Also, there is a player that I'm going to put a lot of pressure on tonight.
I can't wait to hear who this player is.
I'm going to put a lot of pressure on this guy tonight, and I don't even know if I should be the one putting pressure on him. Maybe he should be putting pressure on himself.
I'm fascinated.
I'll tell you who that is next. It's Kincade and Salciunas right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This week.
Wait till after next year. You have time for that. But he's here for 5 years. Great news for the Philadelphia Eagles.
97.5 The Fanatic. I told you going into the break, the player that I'm going to put way too much, no, not way too much, a fair amount of pressure on.
Well, wait a minute.
tonight's
Now
game.
you're changing the T's.
No, I'm going to put a ton of pressure on this player.
Okay, I can't
a ton
wait
of pressure on this player.
Can't wait to hear who it is. And if it's somebody that I think, I'm going to rip you for it.
Well, I'm going to tell you in a couple minutes. But
Oh,
first,
jeez, you're making me wait.
Howie Roseman speaks to the media yesterday.
Yes.
And I told you there were some things that I liked.
I can't wait to hear what you liked.
And there were some things that I didn't like the Hassan Reddick back and forth where he sounded very pompous.
Oh, no.
How dare we question you trading away your best player for a draft pick 3 years down the line?
Howie's not usually jerkish like that, and he was jerkish yesterday, which does not make me happy.
So he talked about the building process of a team, and we kind of talked about this yesterday.
Okay.
That it's not just about this year.
The way I think about things is like I'm not sitting here just wanting to compete in 2024. I want to do nothing other than win a world championship this year. Like that's my number one priority. But I also want us to put us in position to do it in 2025 and 2026 and 2027. You know, if I'm not sitting here, I haven't done a good enough job. And so the reason that I was planning on sitting here is because I plan on doing a good job and making sure this team has enough talent that our coaches are in a position to win every game.
See, I need to hear that because I am such a here and now person.
You are.
Whereas you're logical and you think down the line. I live day to day. The only thing I don't do that with is baseball, right?
Yeah, baseball.
I'm ready to I am okay with taking my time when it comes to talking baseball. But when Howie Rosen says that, it helps me to try to put things in perspective. I think it's also good for him to say it because he didn't do that in 2017.
No, he didn't.
He didn't necessarily do that in 2022. Right?
No, he didn't.
Which is why we've seen the drop-offs the year after the Super Bowl win, the year after the Super Bowl appearance. It's good for Howie to say that.
Do you think are you buying in that is his approach?
Yeah,
like
when you look at the extensions that he has signed,
exactly.
I do believe that he actually believes that and that he's actually doing that.
He put his words there were backed up by his actions.
Right, absolutely.
But I don't accept one of them.
Okay.
Is that all in for 2024?
Well, offensively.
His actions don't.
Offensively, they are.
Correct. But the thing is that you can't tell me coming off the 30th ranked defense in the NFL that letting go of Hassan Reddick, and even though I told you yesterday,
you understand
I understand it a little more, but to me, you can't tell me you're all in.
Well, as you've preached, it's not done yet.
It's not done yet.
They could trade for a player.
Right.
You know, we've talked about the cornerbacks. Jeff McClain said yesterday, and we'll talk to Adam Schefter coming up at 8.
I listened to that again yesterday.
Did you?
And yeah, I find
corner.
I find Jeff McClain mentioned corner 3 different times,
and he even said, "I know some things, but I don't necessarily want to report on it just yet."
Absolutely.
And so he hears something about corner when he kept on mentioning.
He kept saying corner, and Andrew DeCecco keeps saying corner.
Yep.
I smell Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Well, or a starter
you can't smell.
It's a figure of speech.
Or a starter that's already in the NFL, which is a possibility too. In case people don't know, because
Connor does not.
Everybody probably knows at this point because Connor makes sure to brings it up like every day. I don't think there's been a day where you haven't brought it up
to you guys, not on the air.
To us, he didn't bring it up on the air.
Connor does not have the ability to smell, which is insane. I know it's not like a long COVID thing. Like this has been since birth that Connor can't smell.
I'm defective in a lot of ways.
He does not have the ability to smell. So.
It's a crazy trait that you have.
That is. It's a great party gift.
It absolutely is.
And by the way, today
it's a better farty gift.
By the way, today it's serving you very well.
Yeah, it really is. All right, so the player that I'm going to put a ton of pressure on today,
I can't wait for this.
even though I think he needs to put pressure on himself, is Tobias Harris.
I can't believe you're doing Tobias Harris.
No. I think it's totally fair.
I don't. Okay, go on. Go on.
Look,
state your case.
If the Sixers lose today, it's because Joel Embiid had a bad game, right?
It's not going to be because of Tobias Harris.
It's not. But Tobias Harris needs to play a role in a victory. We have seen Tobias Harris disappear in losses.
We have.
I know that Joel Embiid and James Harden are the biggest reasons why they lost Game 6 last year. But they were the biggest reasons why they lost during the final 5 minutes of that game. Tobias Harris finished with 2 points that game and missed open layups, passed up open shots. Tobias Harris didn't just do that last year. He's done that multiple times. We talk about that Hawks series. I know it was Embiid and Ben Simmons. Just like last year it was Embiid and James Harden. That series was Embiid and Ben Simmons. Look up Tobias Harris's numbers during that playoff series. I started calling him Tobias the Friendly Ghost because he disappeared. Tonight, not only do I need him to play well so that the Sixers can win, right? He needs to do it for himself because of what Jimmy Butler said walking off the court just 2 years ago.
Tobias Harris over me?
I don't want to do the whole
No, I get you.
Man up. But this is one of those games where Tobias Harris, he has every opportunity to shut that up.
He does.
If he does not play well tonight, that thing is circulating all over social media tonight, not just in Philadelphia, but nationally. It will be played on NBA Live tomorrow.
It will be.
He better freaking show up tonight.
Here's the key, though, again. And this is what happens in Philly sports far too often. If the 76ers lose tonight,
it's Embiid's fault.
It is not going to be because of Tobias Harris.
But he could be a big factor.
If the 76ers win tonight, it will be because the stars, Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, ball out.
Correct.
And Kelly Oubre, who has become the third.
But this is
what?
Tobias Harris is not paid to be the fourth option.
I'm not talking about what he's paid.
I don't freaking care about the contract
in
talk.
In Nick Nurse's system right now, Kelly Oubre is set up to do big things.
All right, Tobias Harris in Nick Nurse's system is averaging 18 a game.
He is.
I have seen him average 18 a game in regular seasons over and over and over again, and then come playoff time, average 6.
You know what I do is no one else, and this is where I think we give people a pass. In no other city where you have an MVP are we talking about, well, if the third or fourth options, if they lose tonight, the third or fourth option didn't do their job. The number one option, Joel Embiid, needs to show on a big stage consistently that he can do it when the pressure's on.
All right.
Tonight's a one-game playoff. I don't want to hear any excuses.
But, John,
this isn't an excuse.
If Joel Embiid plays 35 minutes tonight.
And what does he score?
35.
Okay, then what?
And they lose.
Then Tyrese Maxey better. Then Tyrese Maxey better.
Tobias Harris better also. He's the vet. He's been here. This is his 13th year in the NBA.
I got it. Tyrese Maxey.
13th year.
Maxey's the one who wants to get a max contract.
And he's going to get it regardless.
He better, exactly. Well, ascend and show that you belong tonight.
Well, Tobias Harris got a max contract. How's that played out?
Eric Spoelstra has things for Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah, I'm sure. So you know what? That means somebody else might have to hit some shots every once in a while.
Or you could say the guy who wants the max contract ascends.
Well, don't worry. Don't forget the zone defense. They're going to have to kick it out to some guys from beyond the arc. Tobias Harris, better shoot it. And he better make it. I'm going to put a lot of pressure on him. If he does not play well today, win or lose, I'm going to bring it up tomorrow. All right, we continue the conversation in the 7 o'clock hour. We'll reset the show. We also got to mention about a major pitching performance yesterday. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sixers showdown.
Salciunas. Happy Wednesday morning. A big Wednesday morning in Philadelphia sports.
Huge.
Huge. I mean, if the Sixers beat the Miami Heat tonight, which they should.
Yes, thank you for that.
Their path to the Eastern Conference Finals, which I know we don't want to look down the road too much, is better than if they lose tonight, because then they play the Boston Celtics in the first round. You win tonight, you take on the Knicks in the first round of the playoffs. If you beat the Knicks, then you're playing either a banged-up Milwaukee Bucks team where there's still questions about Giannis's health, or the Indiana Pacers, who you should be able to beat the Indiana Pacers. I know they're the fun team. Everybody loves Tyrese Halliburton.
Well, they're scoring like 130 a game.
Right.
It seems like.
Well, the Sixers
every
can
night.
put up points, and the Sixers can also play defense, which, as you mentioned, Indiana can't. So
No, I don't think they want to.
Or they don't want
Like,
to.
you know
yeah.
what I mean? It's
right,
like one of those things where they go.
They just want to outscore
Yeah,
you.
it's not what we're doing.
They're the Phoenix Suns, the 7 seconds or less from back in the day, right?
It's not what we're about. We're not playing like that and everything. So it's very, very good. Go by a quick shout out.
Yes.
Dr. Ed Chermel, probably listening.
What's up, Doc?
Dentist in Delco, Newtown Square. So my brother goes into his new dentist, and he says, "Oh, Kincade and everything." The guy on the radio, and he goes,
Yeah.
"That's my little brother." And Dr. Chermel listens every morning to he listens all day to the Fanatic.
Oh, that's awesome.
Loves the Fanatic, loves listening in the morning. So Dr. Chermel and all the people out there, welcome aboard.
Yeah, welcome.
Kincade
Thank you, Doc.
Salciunas, we
I
love you.
appreciate it. Look, doctors listen to our show. It's
Yeah,
Well,
I
they
don't know
do.
if that's a good thing.
they must need their IQs brought down back to average like everybody else.
That's what
That's why they listen to us. It's
I wouldn't
amazing.
want their job for ours. Let's put it that way.
Amazing. All right, so we're talking a lot about the Sixers game tonight. What John Kincade said in the beginning of the show caught me by such surprise, but I'm so freaking happy about it that you're confident, John, today.
Yeah, I'm feeling, and I thank Nick Nurse for this.
Yes.
I thank for the Joel Embiid that I've seen over the course of the season for this, is that I am also under one assumption, as I'm pointing out, that you and Connor are correct. Nothing to see here. He took off the last game of the year because they just wanted to be precautionary.
Yeah.
I'm taking Nick Nurse at his word. If Joel Embiid's healthy, what I've seen out of Embiid and Nurse and this Sixers roster, I'm expecting a big game tonight and a comfortable stretch of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think it's going to be something where we are nail biting a little bit toward the end, but I think the Sixers end up winning it. But John's think it's a feet up at the end of the fourth quarter, which is great.
And again, it may be 8 points, 10 points.
Right.
Where you're not just nail biting on the end. But I do believe the Sixers are going to roll into a Sixers-Knicks series that would start, by the way, I know this is bad, and Bob's going to hate this driving in. The Sixers-Knicks would begin Saturday night at 6 o'clock.
Which I love a Saturday 6
Oh,
o'clock
my
tip-off.
gosh.
That's absolutely
That's
incredible.
perfect.
It's amazing.
I just need 4:30 mass to go quickly.
Yes.
So Monsignor Satino could just,
And make sure he says go Sixers at the end
Right.
of it, and we're all
they
feeling
could play
good.
the song. We played the Eagles song before the Super Bowl. We played the Eagles song at the end of mass. We sang "Fly Eagles Fly."
Oh, did you?
Yeah, in church he had they sang "Fly Eagles Fly."
Can you do that when you go get communion instead of Hosanna in the highest? Can you
I think we
can you
did.
play the Sixers song as you're walking
I'm
up?
just saying, as long as we keep things moving, 6 o'clock Saturday works for all of us.
I can't wait. But I just love that you said this is the most confident that you felt with the
Yes.
Sixers in a long time.
Except 21 when they were the number one
And they were the 1 seed, so you should have been sky high. But in the Embiid era, except for 2021, this is the most excited that John Kincade, or not excited, confident that John Kincade has been in a Sixers team. I would love to hear from people that are like John when it comes to the more grounded approach with the Sixers. I'm always sky high with the Sixers, so you don't have to look for my energy, right? When it comes to the Sixers, I always got it. It's always through the roof.
You are.
But there are a lot of people like John that are grounded and worried about past things that have gone on for the Sixers.
And and that is the weird thing is that I understand you guys, though I don't agree with it. I
Right.
understand you guys, and I look at you guys as just looking at it as fans. And that's fine.
Let
you
me
can look at it as fans.
Here, let me try to explain
Okay.
why I always feel good about the team. It starts with Joel Embiid when he's healthy, right? Which I know has
Such a disclaimer.
It has not been great
Right, I got you.
in years past. But when he is healthy, he is arguably, and sometimes you can't even argue, on paper, the best player on the court.
I don't think on paper. I think he.
Well, we've
arguably,
seen-
no,
we've
you're
seen
saying
him play bad
arguably.
games.
Arguably, he is the best player in the league.
Right. So
when he's
night in
healthy.
and night out, I have the best player on the court, and it's been that way for many, many years now.
It
right?
has.
It's just it hasn't worked out. But I also thought Ben Simmons had a heart. I thought Ben Simmons had some gumption to him. He didn't. Clearly, when he's passing up a dunk where Trae Young's on him and passes it off to Matisse Thybulle, clearly he was lacking some stuff. The final 5 minutes of last year, if they call a timeout, if Joel Embiid says, give me the ball.
How about just saying, if Joel Embiid showed the heart you wanted Ben Simmons to show,
They win
would
the game.
have won game, and then would have maybe even showed up in Game 7.
Right. So things have not played out well at all. But I know talent-wise, Joel Embiid is there. And this year, and I said this before the season started, I've said this post-trade deadline, this is the deepest roster that they have had post-process era. The only roster that might rival it in terms of depth, not star talent, because the Jimmy Butler, Tobias, that's the best team, right? But in terms of depth, where you can go to the bench and it's not an automatic minus 16, maybe the first year they make it to the playoffs with Bellinelli and Ilyasova. But the only thing was, Embiid hadn't grown yet. Ben Simmons hadn't grown yet. So I didn't really have high expectations for that team. I thought they were going to lose to the Boston Celtics, and they did in 5 games. This team has depth. This team has multiple scorers. This team has guys that can actually facilitate. We talk about something that isn't talked about enough, the ability to actually pass the ball to Joel Embiid when he is down low. Tyrese Maxey's still working on that. Kyle Lowry can do that. Nicholas Batum can do that. There are guys that can actually do an entry pass to Joel Embiid, which they have not had guys be able to do that, which is why I wanted Harden back, because he was the first true point guard that Joel Embiid had ever played with. This team is deep. This team has all that.
This team's deeper than last year.
For sure.
And to me,
not even a question.
To me, I feel so much better that Harden's not here and these other pieces are.
Yeah, at this point,
really
I'm feeling that way
really
too.
do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited.
Now, do we have another text on the Sixers?
Yeah, we got a couple.
Give us
I'll
one
give
more
you
text on the Sixers, and then I got to get into this Phillies thing. And Peter has sent in a tweet questioning why we haven't brought it up yet. But go ahead. What's the
Connor,
text?
what is the vibe, by the way, quickly? The overall vibe, do you think it's more leaning Andrews, like people like Andrew, or people like us?
Well, you're on our side today.
Yeah, you're on
Don't
our side
distance
today.
yourself. You're confident. We're all confident.
Okay.
More people are confident than not.
All right, good. I'm glad to hear that.
This text comes from Dickie in Manayunk. It says he's super pumped
What's up,
for
Dick?
the Sixers. He's with John. This is the most confident he's been since Ben Simmons was on the team.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. I like hearing
I'm
that.
glad people are getting there.
People like me are willing to put their fears aside, the boogeyman aside, and say, I've seen enough from Nick Nurse and Joel Embiid this year to give them the benefit of the doubt.
And not just this year. You saw Nick Nurse do it before.
Yeah,
With
I saw him do it. Yeah, I saw him do it once.
Yeah.
I mean, I did.
That's,
and
that's
I've seen
one
him-
more than a
No.
lot of coaches.
No, I haven't. It is.
Look,
I want to see him here.
That coaching that he did with that team
was masterful.
was better than Doc Rivers had ever done. Doc Rivers won a title with the best player, best team in the league.
I do think they found the absolute pot of gold of an injured Warriors team waiting for them.
Yeah, absolutely. But the fact that they got there
No, it was amazing.
with Kawhi
Amazing.
and a bunch of players, right?
Absolutely.
Like we're talking about how Jimmy Butler got to the finals last year with Jimmy Butler and a bunch of players. Allen Iverson got to the championship in
There it
2001
is.
by himself with a bunch of players. So I love that. Now, we have to bring this up. And I can't say shame on me because today's the play-in day with the Sixers. The Flyers season came to an end yesterday.
It did.
In heartbreaking fashion.
Oh, it was terrible.
And the GM of the Eagles spoke yesterday and said a lot of things, and I have something else that I want to play later on this segment. But I do have to apologize that we're an hour and 10 minutes in, and that I have not yet brought up Ranger Suarez.
And Ranger, that was beautiful.
Dude, a complete game shutout. And Peter sends in a tweet. Does a full hour of a show bearing his name without mention of Rangers' performance, does that make Andrew Salciunas the Tobias Harris of Philadelphia Sports Talk Radio? Ranger Suarez yesterday, complete game shutout.
Beautifully done.
Which just doesn't happen in baseball that much anymore. It's the second one this year because there was a no-hitter thrown earlier this year by the Houston Astros.
First one in the National League.
But the first one in the National League, the Phillies only had one last year. It was Michael Lorenzen's no-hitter, right? Complete game shutouts don't happen all that much in baseball anymore. If you go to Baseball Reference and you look up complete games, the bulb number that tells you it's the league leader, it's usually at 2 or 3 nowadays.
Yes.
It's not Cliff Lee doing it 7 or 8 times anymore. For Suarez to go out there and for Suarez to throw 120-some pitches shows a lot of things. He's the starter that we expected going into the season. He's stretched out, which we've never seen before. And that guy's just still as cool as calm can be.
And Connor said it best last night on Twitter. By the way, clip that because you never hear me say it.
Right.
We're going to use that
Connor
forever.
said it best last night. I hope that there are conversations about buying out some arbitration years and locking him down.
Oh, they should.
100%.
They should. I mean, he is
Get him into a raise where you buy out some of the arbitration years and you give him a nice raise and you set it up and you extend it like 2 years past arbitration just to lock him down.
He has just been so consistent for this team. And it was fitting the way the game ended yesterday. Ground ball back to the pitcher.
He's unbelievable.
He makes the play. It's unreal. And for him to do that also is huge for today. Because even though you're playing the Rockies still, and you should handle business.
And you won another series,
you should sweep to take care of business tonight. Christopher Sanchez, who his last 2 outings have been not as great as the first one, he only has to really go like 5 today.
Right, because the bullpen is
bullpen is fresh. Because you had last night where Suarez goes the distance, and then what game was it where Turnbull went 5, then Nick Nelson went 2, and they didn't have to burn their bullpen. In the last 5 games, there's been 2 games where they haven't had to use their horses in the pen.
And you have an off day tomorrow, which helps as well.
Right.
I would say to you that and it's looking ahead, but I'm hoping that they're going back to Wheeler on Friday and not starting Turnbull. They haven't announced their starter for Friday.
Oh, we'll see.
It's Wheeler's regular day.
But Turnbull's pitched well. Maybe you don't want to. Maybe you don't want to mess with it.
Maybe you don't want
who knows? But a good win for the Phillies yesterday, and a great freaking outing by Ranger Suarez. I don't want to miss mentioning that. All right, let's go to the phones, and then I want to play something on Howie Roseman. I mentioned how I need to be better at realizing the plan isn't just for this year.
I think you do.
There's something else that I need to be better at. Look, I'm flawed. I'm right more often than I'm not, but I'm flawed.
We all are as sports fans, aren't we? I mean, honestly, we all are. Your whole.
You let me say I'm right more often than not. You just let that one slide.
But I got to tell you, I've listened to you for a long time, and now I'm working with you. I believe you usually, if you're talking about a scorecard, I think you're more right than you're wrong.
Look at John. John's throwing compliments out today.
Yeah, but
you said it best yesterday, Connor.
Yeah,
I got a good scorecard.
That doesn't mean you're not a C student. But it's
C's get degrees,
exactly.
Man. I'll play this Howie clip coming up in a little bit. Let's go to Joe in the Northeast. What's up, Joe?
Hey guys, what's going on?
How you
Good
doing,
to hear
man?
from you, Joey.
I'm good. Quick thought. So I might be by myself on this, but I would love to take out the Celtics in the first round.
You're by yourself. Well, I would love to take out the Celtics too.
I'll take them out in the 3rd round. How about that?
But Joe, I don't know if they do take out the Celtics.
See, I have confidence in our new coach who's competent, who's won a championship. I have confidence in the depth that we had, as you said earlier. I have confidence that Embiid is fully healthy, and I think it sends a message that hey, we're ready for the Celtics right now. We don't need to go through 2 series to get to them.
No, that would mean you lost tonight to the Heat.
Yeah, and I don't want that to
in a game at home where you are not heavily favored, but you're a good size favorite tonight. You should beat the Heat at home, and they're a banged up Heat team. You better win this game tonight. That's a better message to Boston.
Joe, I get it. I love the confidence. I talked about this yesterday. I love how chesty some Sixers fans are right now about bring on Boston. But, Joe, call me a coward. I don't care. Give me the easiest path, man.
Yes.
And that easiest path is waiting till the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Will do. Appreciate it.
All right,
Take
Joe,
care,
thanks
buddy.
for the call. And, oh, by the way, if you lose to the Celtics, at least it's in the Eastern Conference Finals and not the first round of the playoffs. I don't think that's too hard of a concept to grasp.
And he says, now Steven says here, tell me if this is fair or not. Because I told Steven on email, I do not think you're being fair. And I sent a laughing emoji. He says, I just know what's going to happen, though. If they trip up tonight to the Heat, John's going to be all negative tomorrow morning on their chances. Yes, Steven.
Yes.
Yes, Steven,
I will be negative about their chances.
If they lose as a good size favorite at home tonight against a banged up Heat team with a chance to advance to the 7th seed and to take that path to the title, yes, I will be negative about it tomorrow morning. I'm just warning you.
But it's not.
And I think it's completely fair and completely objective.
It's not just about losing to the Heat. They could lose 200 to 199. Jimmy Butler plays the greatest game in the history of the NBA. It's the fact that they're playing the Celtics in the first round.
Well,
that's
if they get there. What happens if they're playing the Hawks coming out of that other
will you
playing
stop?
game?
Don't give me
and
my
then we
nightmare.
have
No,
nightmare.
that can't
Wait a
happen.
minute.
Exactly. They got
Did you say 200? I'm going to my Bet Parks app.
He
now.
scores the 200 to 1. That's an
Straw
over.
lobe. That's it. I'm betting. Okay, I'm betting the over.
That's the over.
I'm betting the
All
over.
right, so Howie Roseman speaks to the media yesterday, right? And there's something that he said that I need to be better with in all sports, even though sometimes I see and I come up with an opinion like Johan Rojas, and sometimes it plays out, sometimes it doesn't. I understand about being patient. But I have a question about patience. I have a question about patience, but
Okay.
here's Howie Roseman yesterday talking about letting players get to their potential.
This is the only profession where you take someone out of college and you expect them to be great. And if they're not great, you criticize them for not being great. We believe strongly that we have to develop these players, that they come in here with a skill set, but they're unfinished products. We have great support staff to help develop these guys. And so we know that all of them, like all of us, are going to have things they need to work on. And one of the reasons that we do these top 30 visits is to get a head start on that. But I think that's the first thing. It's kind of here are the strengths, here are the weaknesses, how we can help them with the weaknesses, whether they're on the field, whether they're off the field, how we can support these people so they can reach their potential.
So
I agree with him 100%.
it's a great answer. I do have one question because I am somebody that is I'm always proven versus unknown. I'd rather trade prospects for known players
I've
in
heard you
Major
say
League
that.
Baseball, right? It's not even a question.
I've heard you
for me.
say that.
I wanted to trade Tyrese Maxey for Kevin Durant, which I don't think was a crazy thing
I did not.
to want. Look, and that's fair, and I understand that there's
I'm not a Durant fan.
right, and there's issues with Kevin Durant and his injuries, and it's not like he has won by himself. But Kevin Durant and Joel Embiid together, I think, is literally lethal. But that's okay, and I'm glad that it's worked out the way that it's worked out. But this was 3 years ago, right?
I got you right.
I don't understand how we want Tyrese Maxey to grow into something when I could get right now Kevin Durant, and that's maybe a flaw of mine, but it's because I'm looking at the here and now more so than down the road. I don't know what life is down the road. Like, I want to freaking win now, okay? My question off of that, like a lot of people were upset about Nolan Smith not playing much last year. Do you blame them for bringing out Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat as much as they did last year when that was their best options?
Yes, completely. They blew the opportunity to develop Nolan Smith last year.
But are they in the business of developing when they had championship aspirations last year?
There was too many close games because of poor offensive schemes and poor defensive schemes for them to allow that to happen. If Nolan Smith had been a rookie on the 2022 Eagles, and you know how many fourth quarters they were clowning people, and we got to see Minshew Mania, and we got to see all that, Nolan Smith would have been getting 15 snaps, 18 snaps in those games that would have helped him to develop over the course of the year.
Okay, well,
last year they got screwed by their own ineptitude.
So should they have played him just to give him more snaps?
Yes. Because he is just to realize they were shot. They had players that were shot in November.
Yes.
They were absolutely tired.
And that's true.
And so, yes, they should have.
But sometimes, like,
you can't be that way.
I think there's context to it, too. Like, part of the reason why I did not want to start the season with Johan Rojas was, A, I thought he needed to work on his swing. B, I wanted to trade for an outfielder that could have been a starter for a championship now team.
Okay.
I don't know if Johan Rojas is a championship now player. His defense clearly is. I don't know if he's a guy that could be in your everyday starting lineup. Now, it's a longer season, so I should be patient. I know that is a flaw of mine. I don't have much patience when it comes to players, especially when my teams are good. Look, when it's the process and I know my team's going to win 10 games, sure, let me see what the younger guys got.
Well, you and the cosplayers were willing to be patient at that point.
But when it comes to championship win-now mode, I understand that young players can have a factor, but sometimes in win-now mode, I want my best players out there, and I don't want guys just getting chances to develop. You hear what I'm saying?
I do. It
might not be right.
It's not me, though.
Okay.
It's not me.
And look, I get
But
why.
I get you, though. I don't think you're outlandish with that.
But I go win-now mode. I don't know if Nolan Smith was win-now mode last year for them.
We never will know.
We'll never know.
Because they didn't try.
Speaking of Hassan Reddick and Howie Roseman, the Hassan Reddick stuff bothered me yesterday. But I told you, there were a lot of things I liked out of Howie yesterday. And you'll like these, especially coming up next. The process going into the draft, a position that they've avoided, and they are listening to somebody in the building that you're really going to be appreciating, John. And a lot more Sixers talk as the Sixers take on the Heat. Tonight you can listen to the game live right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. It is Kincade and Salciunas right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Time for a matchup. Salciunas. An exciting Wednesday morning in Philadelphia as we're getting set for the Sixers to take on the Miami Heat tonight. So we're under 12 hours from tip-off because it's a 7 o'clock tip-off. So we're under
That's
12
good.
hours, 11 hours and 29 minutes from now. We have a Phillies game tonight, which actually plays out perfectly. 6:05. So you get an hour to watch the Phillies before you dive into the Sixers. So you can go big screen Phillies and then move on down to your secondary device and then go big screen Sixers, or maybe Connor's probably just going out to a bar.
Oh, 100%. Already making plans.
Tonight's a good bar night because the weather's not supposed to be all that great today either, right? Isn't it supposed to be rainy?
It's supposed to start raining in the afternoon.
Yeah, so get to the bar, make sure you're dried off before the start of the game so that you're more comfortable, and then you watch both teams going on. We have a lot still to come on the show today. So 8 o'clock, your next chance to win $1,000 with the signing bonus contest.
Very nice.
After we do the contest, Adam Schefter joins us, as he does every single Wednesday. So we can't wait to talk to Shefty about a boatload of stuff as we get closer to the NFL draft. Speculation of whether or not the Eagles might make a trade with that first-round pick. Is he expecting a lot of moving parts in the NFL draft? What is he hearing? It's not just about the Eagles. It's about the entire league itself. So we'll talk to Shefty coming up at 8. Kate Scott, your voice of the Philadelphia 76ers on NBC Sports Philadelphia, will be joining us to talk about tonight's game. Always love talking to Kate. She is just a bottle of sunshine and excitement, so I'm sure she will be bringing the energy for tonight's game. So we can't wait to hear from her at 8:30. So still a lot to come your way today on Kincade and Salciunas. It's been a lot of fun so far. I love your confidence, John. It puts a smile on my face.
Little swagger today. Feeling good about it.
That's good.
I'm feeling good about it. But honestly, as you say, though, you say it's good. I think I should. We should feel good about this.
Absolutely.
Especially with the banged up Heat.
Right. And not just tonight. Moving forward.
I feel good against.
You take care of business tonight. You feel good about moving forward.
I really do feel good about it. I like the path that's in front of me, but I don't want to look at that path.
Right.
Not right now. Not right now.
No, not right now. Not right now.
Let's chill on that.
All right. So we also have been talking a lot of Eagles today, even though it's a big Sixers day in the Philadelphia area. Howie Rosen speaks to the media yesterday as they did their pre-draft media availability. So the next time we hear from them will be, post-draft?
Yes.
Because they don't talk after every round, right?
No.
No, they just talk after the draft is over. Yeah.
They'll talk post-draft.
So the next time you hear from Howie will be after the draft. And so they were asking him some questions. He's obviously not going to give too much information about the draft process because he doesn't want to give up too much information.
And he likes to, and sometimes you like to give misinformation.
Right, absolutely. So let's play the Hassan Reddick back and forth thing first, Connor, because this was a press conference that I really liked, but it was stained because of this back and forth.
What do you think the upside is for trading Hassan for the conditional pick a couple of years down the line?
Well, the pick's not conditional. We're getting a pick, so I don't really think I understand the question.
It's a third round from a second round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what do you think the upside is for trading Hassan with the year left in his deal in his prime for the pick that you've got?
Well, I think you're asking a question in a vacuum without all the other factors. So, if we want to talk about all the factors that go into building the team and the resources that we put into each position, we can do that. But I don't think the question's really fair and accurately describes the transaction.
No, I don't think your answer's fair.
It's not.
It's not fair. It's a pompous answer. It's a how dare you question me kind of question.
Can I give you that PhiladelphiaEagles.com?
Yes, please.
The Eagles announced that they have traded linebacker Hassan Reddick to the New York Jets for a conditional draft pick, a third-round pick that could become a second-round pick if specific terms are met. It's a conditional pick, Howie.
Right.
Seriously, why are you doing that?
He's just in his feels right now.
Why are you doing that? Why be a jerk
and I don't
to
know,
a legitimate media member asking a legitimate question?
And I don't know why he's so offended by it because the reporter, David Uram, KYW, you said, right?
Yes.
He said, what is the upside? Like,
and he didn't. It's not a gotcha question.
He's almost putting it on a tee. Like, hey, what's the upside of making this trade
Absolutely.
now? Because, look, it's a fair question because the draft pick that you got is 3 years from now, right? That answer.
Three drafts.
Three drafts from now. We played you a clip earlier today when he talked about, I can't just focus on 2024 when building a roster. I have to think about years moving forward. He could have used that exact same answer for the Hassan Reddick thing. Look, we would have loved to have had Hassan Reddick on the team this year, but I also have to think about down the road, and that draft pick will help us down the road.
It would have been easy.
That's such an easy answer.
And more importantly, again, Dave legitimately asks a question, and he legitimately stages it where he gave him there was an exit ramp for a soft landing.
Right.
It was so professional.
Instead, he gives a pompous answer.
And to treat him like a jerk like that, come on, Howie, you're better than that. And you don't tend to do that, so I'm going to give you a pass.
So
you don't tend to be that.
Right. And the rest of the press conference, I really like. So let's play cut 3 first, Connor. Howie Roseman talked about the cornerback position in the draft.
Obviously, corners are a huge part of playing defense in the National Football League. You know, we always talk about affecting the passing game, and just like on offense, we talk about the offensive line and having skill guys. We talk about the defensive line and having guys who can cover on the outside, on the inside, and how much that helps you. 2 years ago, I think we were number 2 in pass defense. That just goes to show, you know, how important that is to playing good defense. Always, I felt that's a priority. Obviously, when you give those numbers, those are compelling. You know, we found different ways, and really going back to me being here, and even as a personnel director, we have signed some Pro Bowl caliber corners or traded for Pro Bowl caliber corners. So we've kind of probably done it a different way. But yeah, you're right. Obviously, those numbers are what they are.
So it's not specifically about the draft, but corner is a priority. We talked to Jeff McClain yesterday, who keeps on saying, trade for a corner, trade for a corner, trade for a corner.
3 times.
Are you now just expecting it at this point?
Yes.
I am too.
But I honestly, yesterday, Nerd Boy was trying to scour and find
corners that were available.
And the weird thing is that I think what was lost, and I reached out to a media member who I trust, and they said, John, the problem is Howie's moves don't tend to be guys that we even know are available.
Right.
He said,
like A.J. Brown?
He said, nobody talked about A.J. Brown before that draft.
Correct.
Nobody talked about DeAndre Swift before that last year's draft.
Correct.
So he says, you could look at any roster, but you can't necessarily know.
Now we can also see how it plays out. Nobody was talking about DeAndre Swift because nobody thought they were going to draft a running back 12th overall when they already had 2 running backs on their roster.
Exactly.
So we could see how the draft plays out, and then maybe a corner becomes available. But the perfect person to ask about that is Adam Schefter.
Well, that's a good person to ask.
He'll be joining us coming up at 8 o'clock. Are there corners that are potentially available that he could maybe just kind of give us a couple of hints of maybe corners that might be available?
He'll do that.
Yeah.
He'll give us a hint.
And maybe he'll break news right after he's done talking to us like he did last week. We literally heard the phone vibrate, the pause, because he's trying to tweet something out. And the second he gets off the air, he breaks news about Josh Allen, the edge rusher with the Jaguars, signing an extension. Now, speaking of corner and speaking of defense, I know we've talked about this a couple times, but he pretty much finally gives the answer that Vic Fangio will have a lot of input in this draft.
You know, with Coach Fangio taking over our defense, his influence has been on our previous defense coordinators as well, so it's not like we're starting from scratch. It's important that we're not bringing in players who just that we like, but also kind of fit what we're trying to do defensively. And so, you know, Coach Sirianni does a great job of having that interaction on a continuous basis between us and the coaches. And obviously, we talk all the time, and it's just important. You know, if you bring in a really good player who doesn't fit what you're trying to do offensively or defensively, it just may not work. And just because somebody's having a lot of success somewhere else in a particular scheme or system doesn't mean that the flip side would also work here.
Now, Nick was there, right?
Yeah, I think we have one clip of Nick that I didn't even bother writing down.
I said to you this morning, it's like Weekend at Bernie's. I think Nick Sirianni now is being brought.
I told you he's now Joe Blanton.
No, I think it's me every ride of my life going to church, going to if we were going to a nice restaurant or we were going to something where my parents would be lecturing me in the car as I sat in the back seat going, John, now you're not running around. You're sitting there.
Right.
Don't ask for anything. That was a good. Don't ask for anything unless it's offered.
Okay.
Don't come in
That's
and say,
a big
I want to, be quiet. When you're addressed, shake hands. Don't
speak when spoken to.
Don't be involved in the adults' conversation. I would have this list.
Right.
Betty and Tom had a list that they would go over before I ever got out of the car. I'm like shaking. Okay, do I remember it all? I think that's with Nick. All right, Nick. You just sit there. You look pretty, Nick. Just smile at everybody. Just don't say anything. He's been. They brought him to the local SPCA and declawed him.
But what's amazing to me is the fact that they brought him back
in that situation.
Like, it almost. You're right.
He doesn't sound like he's.
It almost seems like they weren't going to bring him back unless he said yes to Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio, which, hey,
why wouldn't he have said yes?
He wants a job, right? And
exactly.
and it also probably makes your team better. But to me, that's the only reason why he's back. It seems like because he said yes, sir, to Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Because I don't know what he's doing right now.
No, I don't know.
He's just kind of sitting there. All right, we continue the Sixers excitement. Would love to hear from you on the text line, 610-632-0975. You can also call in to talk about the Sixers. John Kincade is the most confident he's ever been in the Embiid era.
Except 21.
Except for 2021, which didn't really play out well, but that's okay. That's okay. That doesn't mean it's not going to play out well this time. Are you like John, where you're normally grounded, but you're finding yourself extra confident and excited for this Sixers playoff run? You don't need to ask me. You know where I'm at about it. Also, more on the draft. Did Howie Roseman tip his hand yesterday? I'll explain why next. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Devontae Smith signs an extension with the Eagles.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. There's a story on ESPN.com, a big deep dive as to why Bill Belichick is not a head coach in the NFL right now. Obviously, he and the New England Patriots mutually parted ways. That's what they always say, right? But there's some nuggets about the Eagles that caught my eye that I'll get to you later on this segment, and we'll be joined by Adam Schefter at 8 o'clock.
This is perfect.
So the chances of Bill Belichick, were they real about him coming to Philadelphia? We'll tell you about that coming up in a few minutes. Again, Adam Schefter joining us at 8 o'clock. But we're getting excited for the Sixers game tonight. Sixers, Heat, play-in tournament. You win. You're the 7th seed. You take on the New York Knicks in the first round of the playoffs, and that's the easiest path to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, taking on the Knicks. And that's not like slighting the Knicks, but it's not the Boston Celtics in the first round of the playoffs. And then in the second round, it's a banged-up Bucks team, or it's the Indiana Pacers, who you should definitely beat the Pacers, and then you just hope if you're playing the Bucks that Giannis is not 100%, and then you could get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then if you're facing Boston, you face Boston, at least it's in round 3.
It sounds like a nice plan. I like it. I wish you could just speak this into existence. But I really do believe we're going to be talking about a really, really good night tonight.
Yep, I do too.
I feel good about the matchup, and the more Miami's banged up, the better. And the people suggesting that Miami's sort of maybe even throwing the game to get Boston, and I had one person here telling me Eric Spoelstra is actually rigging things to get Boston. Everyone in Philly nibbling their nails, worrying about facing Boston. That's the difference between the two organizations. That's what he says.
And we talked about this earlier. Spoelstra knows how to beat the Celtics. He did it last year with a very similar roster, right? Minus Max Strus. It's a very similar roster that Miami has. So now the Celtics have Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday, so that their team has changed drastically as well. But maybe he has an idea, and maybe I don't know if he would really throw a game to try to take on the Boston Celtics. I think that's almost mad scientist-esque. But maybe Eric Spoelstra is that mad scientist. Do we have any texts coming in about the Sixers, Connor?
Yeah, we do. We've had pretty steady interaction all day on the text line. You can text in at 610-632-0975. And Dave from Fortescue checks in, says, "Yo, Connor," addresses me. Thank you, Dave. "I'm so confident in the Sixers. I got 300 on the game. Parlay Sixers money line and the over 208.5. Easy money in all caps.
Over,
That's a couple hundred on the Sixers. Go Sixers.
So people are confident.
Yeah, look, I'm confident. I'm going to do a
I'm not sure I like the over.
I'm going to go Sixers-Phillies money line parlay today.
Okay, that's not bad.
It gets you right around even money. What? Why are you oohing?
I don't know. Just focus on the Sixers.
Wait a minute, Connor Thomas, we need another quote. The Sixers should. I mean, the Phillies should be able to.
I told you I'd be happy with the series win. They won the series.
If the Phillies don't win today,
oh my gosh,
I'm going to rip them tomorrow, win or lose for the Sixers tonight. They have their full bullpen at their disposal today. They're playing one of the worst baseball teams, and they got by Game 1.
Yeah.
Right? Game 1, they got by beating the Rockies.
Has not looked that good recently.
Okay, and they have their full bullpen at their disposal, which is why I said earlier, if Sanchez goes 5 innings and you're – first off, if you're losing 1-0 to the Rockies, that's an embarrassment in itself. If he goes 5 innings, you have your entire bullpen at its disposal.
With a day off tomorrow, too.
They should not lose this game.
This should be a game. This should be a game you get.
I can't do the guarantee because it hasn't really worked out.
By the way,
would
guarantee something.
Would Connor give us the guarantee? Can we revisit this? There are 2 games over 500 today.
Yeah. I have to reevaluate.
Whoa. Would you give us the guarantee today that the Phillies will not be under 500 again?
Let me get back to you on that.
Okay.
Okay. But no, you only have till 10, though.
Yeah, you only have till 10 o'clock.
10:05, I'll let you know.
No. I'm not listening.
I don't say it on the air, man.
I don't want to listen to the Locked On Phillies podcast to hear you answer this. I want you to answer it here.
Before the end of the show.
All right. So there's a story on ESPN.com, and I'm trying to read through it quickly. So
there isn't anything that juicy. I'm not seeing that juicy stuff.
What's juicy about it is that it seems like there was a possibility.
Howie Roseman says, and the sources say, he talked to Bill Belichick about after leaving New England, but never once did they talk about him becoming the Sixers coach.
Eagles coach.
About the Eagles coach.
I think he'd be a good basketball.
He'd be a good basketball coach. But that then, too, Jeffrey Lurie, supposedly there were people that were still buzzing, but Jeffrey Lurie was like, the guy wants to coach till he gets Don Shula's record. So
Right.
are we going to do anything with a guy that only wants to maybe coach 2 years? It doesn't make sense.
Right. So here's a little blurb from the story. And again, we'll talk to Adam Schefter at 8 o'clock
Sure.
about a bunch of things, including this. Roseman told ESPN he had a conversation with Belichick, a check-in, to see how the coach is doing after he was out in New England. A source close to Belichick confirmed there was no talk during the call about working for the Eagles. Still, there was chatter in league circles that Philadelphia and Belichick could be a match. Despite some owners and executives believing the game had passed Belichick by, the Eagles felt he still had his fastball. He had nearly beaten them in the 2023 season opener with an inferior team. There's also a belief that Belichick will coach only until he gets his 15 more wins, enough to pass Don Shula, to what you just said. Though not seriously considering a move, Lurie wandered to a confidant. Was it worth overhauling the building, changing personnel and philosophies on everything from training staffs to salary cap structure
And it
for
wouldn't have
someone who might coach only 2 years?
And it wouldn't have been. It would have been the dumbest move possible. Dumbest thing you could have done.
Right.
This is not a guy who's going to bend. This isn't a guy who's going to all of a sudden. You think that leopard's changing its spots?
Right. He's not going to all of a
now
sudden listen to Howie.
Now
right.
I want to work in it. Now I want to work in a system. Oh, I would work with Howie Roseman because I respect him. That man isn't changing his ways. He is.
Right. The
Now,
question
please.
would then come down to, for Jeffrey Lurie to answer, and I think he gave you his answer,
Yes.
is who does he trust more, Howie Roseman or Bill Belichick?
I think the fact that Nick Sirianni stayed with all the other candidates that were available tells me all I need to know.
Right.
Bill Belichick was never coming there.
All right, so we'll talk to Adam Schefter about this story on ESPN.com. We'll also talk about the draft as we are another day closer. Tomorrow will be 1 week until the NFL draft, which is amazing that it's here. And there's still so many different The beauty of this draft with the Eagles, there's a million things they can do. And that doesn't even mean selecting a player. It means that they could trade for a cornerback, as Jeff McClain alluded to, it seemed like multiple times yesterday. So we'll talk to Shefty about that coming your way next. We'll reset the entire show in the 8 o'clock hour. Today's headlines with Connor Thomas comes your way around 8:15. And also, your next chance to win $1,000 at 8 o'clock right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
everybody's going to wonder, is it time to extend A.J. Brown? Wait till after next year. You have time for that. But he's here for 5 years. Great news for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Kincade Salciunas, the day of the Sixers play-in tournament against the Miami Heat. Also, 8 days away from the NFL draft.
Cannot wait.
Can't wait. And joining us now on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Comcast Business gets you ready for what's next. And he's brought to us by Landis Block. Create your very own jaw-dropping backyard paradise online at landisbc.com. From ESPN, the great Adam Schefter. Shefty, good morning. How are we today?
Good morning, Andrew and John. How are you doing? I have one question before we get to some football stuff.
Yes.
Give me, and I know it's an obvious question. I know Philadelphia knows. I don't. What happens to the winner and loser of tonight's Sixers-Heat game?
Sixers play the Knicks in the first round. They will be the 2-7 matchup. Or if they lose tonight, they will play Friday night at home. The winner of the Hawks game at the Bulls tonight. For the 8 seed, which would then face
the
Boston.
Seed. So we want them to win tonight, Shefty. Bottom line is win tonight, and you got a nice path to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Sixers would not have to face Boston until the conference finals, possibly, if they win tonight.
And you're giving them the victory over the Knicks already?
I am.
Wow.
I am over. Oh yeah. I mean, no. Let's put it this way: it's a better path. Any path that begins with Boston.
Because if you play Boston round one, then it's probably over and done with. If you play the Knicks round one, you have a much better chance. Then you play the winner of the Bucks and Pacers, and then it's Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. So we're rooting for a win tonight, Shefty.
I'm calling a Pacers upset over the Bucks, by the way.
Oh wow, I like
that.
Well, Giannis is banged up, so.
Well, and also I like the coaching matchup better than that one. I like a lot of coaching matchups against Milwaukee. Based off of what we know with Glenn Rivers.
Doc Rivers PTSD for Andrew is real.
All right, Shefty, we're 8 days away from the NFL draft. We are so fired up for it, and part of the reason why we're excited for it is because we don't know what the Eagles are going to do. They can do their typical drafting of the trenches. They can draft a cornerback, or they can make a trade. Shefty, one of the big spots when it comes to trading is cornerback, a starter in the NFL right now. Is there a market going into the NFL draft for corners around the NFL that are already starters?
You know, you guys asked me a couple of weeks ago, is there a big move they're going to make? And I believe I told you the big move that I expected they'll make would be to extend their own players. And since then, they've extended Jordan Mailata and Devontae Smith, right?
That is correct.
So they've gotten those done. And we had that conversation before those deals came down. Those deals have come down in the last couple of weeks. And I think I would stick to the same answer. I don't think that they're trading for another Darius Slay type corner. I'm trying to think if there is a corner out there that I don't know that would be available right now.
How about one in Denver? How about Patrick Surtain? Do you believe he's on the table?
No.
Okay.
No. And by the way, when you ask me that name, look, there's always curveballs, and I guess we could hear next week that Denver's all of a sudden trading Patrick Surtain.
Wow.
Is it Surtain or Surtain?
I always go the Surtain, but tomato.
Yeah. Anyway, Denver shut that down pretty quickly last year, and that is the first time I've heard his name this offseason. Now, that doesn't mean it won't be the last, and maybe his name does come up, but I have not heard that once. Not once. And, by the way, I don't know how much cap room Philly has left, but they just paid all their own guys. And to me, what they're always looking to do at this time of the year is they're always looking to figure out a way to go up, a few slots in the draft to go get the guy that they really want, to make sure that he's there, whoever that may be. And that's where I think they'll wind up doing again. Like, what number are they, 22?
22, 50, 53.
Right. So all of a sudden 22 turns into, I'm making this up, 19, and they get the guy they wanted, right? Rather than sweating it out to 20. Like that, they've done that consistently in multiple recent years. But in terms of the cornerback talk, you bring up the Broncos cornerback, Surtain. I got to ask the proper pronunciation. Either of Surtain. But again, first I've heard of that. I haven't heard too many other cornerback names. And typically, when there's a guy that a team is looking to trade at this time of the year, they're looking to trade him because he wants to get paid, or he's in the last year and they're not planning to pay him, or contract talks have broken down and they're not going anywhere. And I'm not aware right now of a particular cornerback who fits into that category where a team is so disappointed at the state of negotiations that they're ready to turn their back on that guy and trade him to Philadelphia, no less. I haven't heard that at all.
Does the re-signing of all of his players and using a lot of salary cap flexibility this year, does that tell you that Howie Roseman's extremely confident that last year was just a blip on the radar and that this will be corrected with new coordinators and this team's ready to bounce back?
No, it tells me he believes in his guys, and it tells me that when you believe in your guys and you've identified players that you want to keep, that you believe are really good players, like Landon Dickerson, like Jordan Mailata, like Devontae Smith, when you have guys that you're going to be building around, you get ahead of the market and sign them before anything can happen. Like, Devontae Smith to me is such a sharp, smart deal. Like, wow. The wide receiver market is going to explode this summer. It's going to explode. And you're going to see at some point in time, whether it's in a week, a month, or right before the season, new wide receiver deals for Justin Jefferson, C.D. Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Chase maybe, Jalen Waddle maybe. Like, there are a lot of great wide receivers. And to get you that deal done before those deals, to me, that's wise.
Shefty, the defense, it looks like they're going to go with a youth movement, maybe more of a patient approach. Howie Roseman said in a couple of press conferences now that Nick Sirianni should realize that it's okay to play some of the younger players. Who do you think the Eagles organization hope most takes that next step forward, or they think takes that next step forward? Because you have guys like Jordan Davis, you have Nakobe Dean, and then you have some of those corners like Keely Ringo. Is there a player that they're eyeing the most, Nolan Smith, that they think will take that next leap forward that can say, this is why we didn't go out and get a veteran at this position?
Well, it's funny. When you initially asked that question, before you named any of those names I was thinking I was going to answer, they're counting on the kid from Georgia to take the next step. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, which one?
Which one? We got enough to look forward to. I mean, everybody's counting on Carter.
I think all these guys, Carter is an obvious one because of how gifted he is. And when you bring up the fact that they are so youthful on defense and so young there on that side of the football, I think that, they feel like, we can do that because we're that experienced in the coaching booth with Vic Fangio. So you take the youth of the defense and combine with, the old world knowledge of Vic, and you put them together, and that's a nice combination to have. And so the defense failed them last year. The reason that they made dramatic changes in terms of the coaching. And I think they're counting on all these people to take the next step. Some more than others, of course. Jalen Carter, would be somebody that they would need to step up. Jordan Davis, same thing. They need those guys to be much better this year, and I think that they believe that they will be.
Not trying to play the arrogant Eagles fan here, but I don't think many fans in the city are expecting Washington or the Giants to come up and really be serious challengers in the NFC East. But a lot is being made about the Cowboys offseason as being a bit of a dumpster fire. Is it an exaggeration, or what do you think?
Royce Freeman doesn't scare you in the backfield right now?
I'm just saying it seems as if they're in a holding pattern for a team that obviously would have to make some tweaks and try to make some changes, I believe, to keep up with the Eagles' youth movement.
Yeah, they've had, you could say arguably the quietest offseason of any NFL team. I mean, it has been remarkable at how little they've done. And I guess they're putting their faith in re-signing CD, Lamb, and Micah Parsons. And, it doesn't sound like they're going to get anything done with Dak anytime soon. And so a lot up in the air there. They don't do a lot. They lose a lot. I don't think if you're a Cowboys fan, you could feel better about the state of the team today than you did at the end of last year. It's pretty hard to do that. Now, again, that's what makes the NFL great. Like, you go to camp and all of a sudden, some young guys develop and maybe Dallas hits on a bunch of these picks and all those things like that, and it happens favorably. And sometimes, you've seen this often where a team has a bunch of picks and a bunch of rookies step up, and you're like, wow, like that is tremendous. I mean, there have been any number of teams that have had a huge rookie class that have made a dramatic difference in that team's roster. And that still could happen with Dallas. So, I'm not ready to write them off. I'll just say to date, where we're at right now, it's been a disappointing offseason for them. Now, they may turn it around in the draft, and they have drafted well, and they're capable of doing that. But what they've done so far doesn't make you think that they are more likely to win the division next year than they were this past year.
Speaking of Adam Schefter on the Comcast Business Hotline, Schefter, a couple more for you. There's a story that dropped on ESPN.com this morning about Bill Belichick and why he is not a head coach in the NFL right now. It was a deep dive. It was tremendously written, a deep dive as to what happened in New England and what didn't happen with other teams. I just want to ask you this question. So Nick Sirianni's back, and everybody here in Philadelphia hopes the Eagles win the Super Bowl, and that means Nick Sirianni's back. There was obviously chatter that what if Nick Sirianni didn't come back? Who could be that replacement? According to the story, league sources believed, or like executives believe, that there was a match between Belichick and Philadelphia. Is that possibility still down the line, or do you think Belichick and Philadelphia would never happen because of the working relationship with him and Howie Roseman?
I just think he's out there, and he's a guy that I think any team that molds any coaching change would have to look at. He's a coaching legend, right? And it's the kind of thing where if your team's going to be making a coaching change, he would be a guy, to me, you have to consider. And I'm surprised that somebody didn't hire him now. Like, I'm just surprised that didn't get done and happen. That to me is crazy because he belongs in the game and he belongs coaching a team. But every team decided that it wasn't the right fit. They went another direction where their teams had coaches, didn't have coaches, and Bill's on the sideline. And Bill will be busy this fall. And I think there's a good chance at some point he'll be back.
All right, last one for you, Shefty. We always appreciate your time. Something that John and I are keeping an eye on is Hassan Reddick's contract talk in New York, because it doesn't seem like anything's happened yet. We haven't heard anything that it is happening. There's the confusion of, if he doesn't get a new deal, why couldn't he have just finished off his deal here in Philadelphia? Is there contract talk approaching for Hassan Reddick? And if there isn't, Why couldn't he just finish it off here as opposed to going to New York?
Well, I think it is built up. And I think they felt like, I don't know, this has gone on for 2 years. Like there was some contract scar tissue. And I just think that sometimes you get to a spot like that where if you make a decision you're not going to. Like in New York, I think that I'm sure there's a belief that they could work towards a contract this offseason and potentially maybe get it done before the season begins. And in Philadelphia, I don't think they were going to pay him.
Oh, all right. That's
Okay,
that's
there you go.
plain and simple.
There we go.
All right, Adam.
Good job,
Listen, man.
Adam.
We appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. Guys just got a bunch of texts coming in from a bunch of front office people, and it's that time of the year. So look forward to talking to you from.
Just share a few of them right now if you
tell
would.
us.
We
Tell
got
us what
time
you
for
got,
you.
Chef.
Just go read your phone.
I got a guy calling back. I got
Thank you, buddy.
I'll talk to you
Take
guys.
care.
All right, see, there he is, Adam Schefter on the College Business Hotline. Literally last week, he got the text message about Josh Allen, edge rusher for the Jags. We heard the pause. We heard everything. And then I said, watch, he's going to break something.
It happened
And
again.
It was the second he got off the air with us last week.
Hey, Landis Block and Concrete, we love you, too. You guys, we appreciate you, Jared, and your entire team. Thanks, LandisBC.com.
Yeah, absolutely. They bring us Adam Schefter. And what brings us now at 8:15 is today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Hello, Connor.
Hello. How we doing, boys?
Hi, Connor.
So, we're going to start with something very interesting. Now, everyone knows what happened last night in the Phillies game, but Bryce Harper had a solid night. He had a big double. He had a home run. There's an interesting thing about this, though. First, let me play you a little bit of sound about it.
Line drive deep to right field. It is gone! Two-run home run for Harper. 3 RBIs in the game, and the Phillies take a 5-0 lead.
Maybe 2-run home run was the perfect thing because Bryce Harper has been lights out on the Hatfield BOGO Dogs night. Here are his stats on the 2 buy one, get one promotions. In 8 at-bats, he has 5 hits, all extra base hits, 4 homers, 9 RBIs, and then that 1 double he hit last night.
So what you're saying is he knows that the fans are disappointed about BOGO and not Dollar Dog Night, so he wants to try to provide more of a show for the Phillies fans that are still going.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
By the way, a dog costs what, $4?
I don't know.
I think they cost $4. I looked on opening day.
$4 or $5.
It's either $4 or $5. So really, it's like $2.50 dog night.
Yeah.
Or $2.25.
But it doesn't roll off the tongue as
It
well.
really doesn't.
It's the BOGO night.
Well, if the Phillies cared, they'd have BOGO every home game now until Bryce Harper stops hitting home runs.
Yeah, it was a good night for the look. It was a good night for the Phillies in totality with the bats as well. You know,
it's very nice.
Harper had a nice night. JT had a nice night. Turner goes 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored. Another hitless night for Castellanos.
Isn't that nice?
0 for 3.
0 for 4.
Kyle
Bryce Harper
Schwarber
struck out using his bat, so we're going to add that one on there.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Unreal. It was a good night for the Phillies and a great night for Ranger Suarez with the complete game shutout.
Definitely was. Was not a great night for this team. Now, we've talked a little bit about the way the Flyers game went down last night with the Caps, but I want Johnny Hockey over there's explanation for what in the world happened early in this one.
Will fire! The save! It bounces high, and a whistle stops play! A whistle stops play! The referee lost sight of the puck.
Yes.
What happened?
Okay, it bounced up in the air. It bounced up in the air. If the puck on its way down, it bounced off of Joel Farabee, then off of the Caps goaltender. If the puck had bounced up in the air, not touched Farabee, and had bounced into the net or bounced off the Caps goaltender, I believe under review they would have called that a goal.
So you agree with the call?
I agree with the call. I think it absolutely is. The minute it touched Joel Farabee, I think at that point, because it hits Joel Farabee as the whistle's being blown, right after the whistle's blown.
Okay.
So whistle's blown, it hits Farabee, it bounces off the goaltender, and it's in. I do believe if it had not hit Farabee, that would have been a goal.
We're going to cut that. Now, say what you want about Gary Bettman and the conspiracy theory that's clearly out there against the Flyers. Okay, crickets. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, the tough end for the Flyers.
That's
Just wanna
absurd. Yeah, I agree with the call. It was absolutely, by the letter of the law, that call was correct.
Dude, just a weird night, man.
It was a weird night.
And finally, I got to talk to you guys about something that you guys said earlier on in the show.
I'm a look-ahead guy, and I see the path that's in front of them. I see the opportunity, if you take care of business tonight, that this is a Sixers team that can go on a run.
It is hard not to look ahead. You look at this path. Knicks, you should beat the Knicks.
Boys, it's
What?
the Sixers we're talking about. I know we're fired up, and I know you guys have clarified that, like, you're not trying to jump ahead, but we might need to put, like, a ban on saying the word Knicks for the rest of the program.
Bob Cooney's going to smack
because you got to beat the Heat.
Let's
first.
focus on Miami. That's all I'm saying.
But
Bob's gonna
like
smack
I
it.
said, you should beat the Knicks.
You should beat the Knicks.
Heat. You should beat the Heat.
But you're only playing Miami tonight, so
I
why don't we
gotcha.
keep it to that?
Well,
I
you know
think
what?
that's fair.
You're trying to ground us, but I know who won't ground us. Kate Scott's going to fire us up.
Yeah, see, Kate's got it.
She's going to be joining us coming up next.
She's going to say, shut up, Connor.
Yeah, absolutely. So Kate Scott joins us next. More on this Bill Belichick thing. We're not going to focus too much on it because he's not the head coach. It didn't happen.
No.
But I asked Shefty specifically down the road if there's a possibility. Bill Belichick in this story, according to sources, has three teams, on his list. The Eagles are one of them.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the other two as well. I'll just say this. I think he likes the NFC East. Kate Scott joins us coming your way next. It's Sixers play-in day. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports.
I do not think the Eagles will draft a linebacker in the first round. I do not think they will draft a cornerback in the first round. I think that they're going to find an edge rusher or an offensive lineman. I'll go offensive line first round, and I would say there's a chance you get 2 offensive linemen in their first 4 picks in the draft.
The Eagles need to draft defense. Whatever position, corner, would be the most logical.
Well, I don't read mock drafts because I think they're bogus up until the actual week of the draft. But I'll give you a name that I've had my eye on, Tyler Guyton. He's an offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. He's worked with Lane Johnson. Like, they're working during the offseason. He's a guy that can play right guard to start right away. And then eventually when Lane Johnson retires, like all the other guys are leaving, he could be his replacement. So Tyler Guyton, Oklahoma.
One position I think the Eagles should go for is cornerback this draft. Darius Slay is getting up there in age. James Bradbury obviously was not very good last year. I think you have to draft a young corner to try to solidify that position.
I would love for the Eagles to take a little-known defensive back out of Washington College, Connor Thomas, but I don't think he's really in shape anymore. So I'm going to go with a better defensive back. Give me Kool-Aid McKinstry.
I think the Eagles need to take a cornerback or maybe a tackle to solidify the right tackle spot when Lane Johnson eventually leaves.
I would also say that the Eagles should take a cornerback just to show that they need some more depth throughout the rest of the season, as the cornerback positions that we've seen throughout this year did not do that. So I'm going to go with cornerback.
The Eagles should draft, and the draft's coming up at the end of the month, a linebacker. They always draft a linebacker. You know they're going to draft a linebacker. They're going to draft a good linebacker because it's linebacker university with the Philadelphia Eagles.
I want you to be honest with us. Would you rather be right, even though it might be a negative opinion about your teams, or would you rather be wrong, which means your team benefits from it? I know the Sixers are a prime example. Ben Simmons was a prime example. It's also like the Doc Rivers thing with the best show ever. Always never won a game in this town. Tyrese Maxey drops 52 points last night. Dude, in 54 minutes.
Imagine that you
54
might.
minutes.
That was unbelievable. And more importantly, it's you don't expect when Joel Embiid's out, that Tyrese Maxey can just carry the franchise to huge success. But what he's shown you, like 3 different nights,
yes,
he can put up 50.
Yeah.
He can put up, and he's one of those guys that can do that. That can, on a given night, he can do it. And more importantly, on the other nights, he's not crappy.
Right.
He's just a little more human.
Yeah.
Last night, they needed an inhuman effort. It would have secured them. If they had lost last night, it would have secured them that they were in the play-in game.
Right. And now you still have a chance.
Now they
to
still
get
have a
6th
chance.
seed. I know it's still tough to get there, and we'll
Math
get to
is
that
bad,
later
yes.
on. But look, that was a great win for the Sixers.
Him. Tonight, nationally, it is the women's Final Four. And I'll tell you, it's gotten more more attention than I think any time I've been alive. But North Carolina.
So we have another question, right, about the Phillies. I'm sorry. This is what happens.
We
get a couple people in the room that love talking hoops and changes. What's up, Joe?
Have you guys seen the new city editions? And do you like that they're wearing them every Sunday for all the Sunday games?
They'll be unveiled at 10.
There was a.
They're out.
Yeah, no, I don't believe it is. I don't believe it's the stuff that you've seen.
You don't think it's the?
I do
the
not.
lightning one?
No, I
do. I've heard that the hat is pretty fire.
I will tell you that the jerseys that have been leaked out are the jerseys that you wear.
They are.
Yes.
Well, I think.
I didn't know if you were going to tell
think they look like a softball home run hitting.
Oh, I think that
I don't like them.
I don't like them at all.
But I'm a very boring traditional.
I want
the color scheme.
I want I don't need. It's trying too hard.
So it's the color scheme and it's the lettering and it's the.
I just. The Phillies have such. What do the Phillies have? 4 in the rotation now.
Yes.
I'm still gonna buy one.
I'm not.
I
like my baby blue, man. The powder blue. That's all I need.
Like he's a powder blue guy.
Yeah, but the light is too much for me. It's way too much.
It's the lightning with the yellow.
Yeah.
All right.
Just doesn't. No.
Too much going on.
No, too much. I do not think the Eagles will draft a linebacker in the first round. I do not think they will draft a cornerback in the first round. I think that they're going to find an edge rusher or an offensive lineman. I'll go offensive line first round, and I would say there's a chance you get 2 offensive linemen in their first 4 picks in the draft.
The Eagles need to draft defense. Whatever position, corner, would be the most logical.
Well, I don't read mock drafts because I think they're bogus up until the actual week of the draft. But I'll give you a name that I've had my eye on, Tyler Guyton. He's an offensive tackle at Oklahoma. He's worked with Lane Johnson. Like, they're working during the offseason. He's a guy that can play right guard to start right away. And then eventually when Lane Johnson retires, like all the other guys are leaving, he could be his replacement. So Tyler Guyton, Oklahoma.
One position I think the Eagles should go for is cornerback this draft. Darius Slay is getting up there in age. James Bradbury obviously was not very good last year. I think you have to draft a young corner to try to solidify that position.
I would love for the Eagles to take a little-known defensive back out of Washington College, Connor Thomas, but I don't think he's really in shape anymore. So I'm going to go with a better defensive back. Give me Kool-Aid McKinstry.
I think the Eagles need to take a cornerback or maybe a tackle to solidify the right tackle spot when Lane Johnson eventually leaves.
I would also say that the Eagles should take a cornerback just to show that they need some more depth throughout the rest of the season, as the cornerback positions that we've seen throughout this year did not do that. So I'm going to go with cornerback.
The Eagles to draft's coming up at the end of the month. A linebacker. They always draft a linebacker. You know they're going to draft a linebacker. They're going to draft a good linebacker because it's linebacker university with the Philadelphia Eagles.
I want you to be honest with us. Would you rather be right, even though it might be a negative opinion about your teams, or would you rather be wrong, which means your team benefits from it? I know the Sixers are a prime example. Ben Simmons was a prime example. It's also like the Doc Rivers thing with the best show ever always says he never won a game in this town. Tyrese Maxey drops 52 points last night. Dude, in 54 minutes.
Imagine
54 minutes.
That was unbelievable. And more importantly, it's you don't expect when Joel Embiid's out that Tyrese Maxey can just carry the franchise to huge success. But what he's shown you, like 3 different nights.
Yes.
He can put up 50.
Yeah.
He can put up, and he's one of those guys that can do that. That can, on a given night, he can do it. And more importantly, on the other nights, he's not crappy.
Right.
He's just a little more human.
Yeah.
Last night, they needed an inhuman effort. It would have secured them. If they had lost last night, it would have secured them that they were in the play-in game.
Right. And now you still have a chance.
Now they
to
still
get
have a
the 6th
chance.
seed. I know it's still tough to get there, and we'll get to that later on. But look, that was a great win for the Sixers.
Him tonight nationally, it is the women's Final Four, and I'll tell you, it's got more attention than I think any time I've been alive. But North Carolina.
So we have another question, right, about the Phillies. I'm sorry. This is what happens.
We
get a couple people in the room that love talking hoops and changes. What's up, Joe?
Have you guys seen the new city editions? And do you like that they're wearing them every Sunday for all the Sunday games?
They'll be unveiled at 10.
There was a.
They're out.
Yeah, no, I don't believe it is. I don't believe it's the stuff that you've seen.
You don't think it's the?
I do not.
Lightning one? No, I do. I've heard that the hat is pretty fire.
I will tell you that the jerseys that have been leaked out are the jerseys that you wear.
They are. Yes.
Well, I think
I didn't know if you were going to tell
I think they look like a softball home run hitting.
Oh, I think that
I don't like them.
I don't like them at all.
But I'm a very boring traditional.
I want
the color scheme?
I don't need. It's trying too hard.
So it's the color scheme and it's the lettering and it's the.
The Phillies have such. What do the Phillies have? 4 in the rotation now.
Yes.
I'm still going to buy one.
I'm not. I like my baby blue, man. The powder blue, that's all I need.
Like he's a powder blue guy.
Yeah, but the light is too much for me. It's way too much.
It's the lightning with the yellow.
Yeah.
All right.
Doesn't. No.
Too much going on.
No, too much. I do not think the Eagles will draft a linebacker in the first round. I do not think they will draft a cornerback in the first round. I think that they're going to find an edge rusher or an offensive lineman. I'll go offensive line first round, and I would say there's a chance you get 2 offensive linemen in their first 4 picks in the draft.
The Eagles need to draft defense. Whatever position, corner, would be the most logical.
Well, I don't read mock drafts because I think they're bogus up until the actual week of the draft. But I'll give you a name that I've had my eye on, Tyler Guyton. He's an offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. He's worked with Lane Johnson. Like, they're working during the offseason. He's a guy that can play right guard to start right away. And then eventually when Lane Johnson retires, like all the other guys are leaving, he could be his replacement. So Tyler Guyton.
On this Wednesday morning, Kincade and Salciunas. It is play-in day. Sixers hosting the Miami Heat. 7 o'clock tip-off. You can listen to that game live right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. And joining us on the Comcast Business Hotline every day in business is a big day. Comcast Business gets you ready for what's next. The voice of your Philadelphia 76ers on NBC Sports Philadelphia, the great Kate Scott. Kate, good morning.
Good morning, my friends. Happy play-in Wednesday. Is it 7 o'clock? At night yet?
No, not yet. We still have to wait, but we're fired up for it, Kate. And the thing that's getting me so excited is John's confidence. John is, I think, logically grounded at times with some teams. He's confident today, which is firing me up.
Love it. I know I've been listening, guys, and John, for some strange reason, I am right there with you. I actually know the strange reasons, and we will get into them. But isn't it weird as a sports fan? Because I know probably some of your listeners are rolling their eyes right now saying Kate always is excited about something. But there are those mornings when I wake up and I don't have a good feeling about my team. But today, same thing, John. I woke up and I kind of went like Tom Hanks' League of Their Own a little bit as I was brushing my teeth. Like, we're going to win tonight. I don't know why I feel so good, but we're freaking winning this game tonight. So
Hey,
I'm with you, Johnny.
Bob Cooney did a great job yesterday of sort of laying out, him and Amy were talking about how in the games this year against Miami, we really haven't seen Embiid. We really haven't seen Jimmy Butler for the most part. So you can pretty much throw out anything that happened during the season. But you know what it's like when you see the Sixers or any team go up against Eric Spoelstra. What should we have a mild concern about tonight, considering both rosters?
The mild concern is the 2 people that you just mentioned, Jimmy Butler and Eric Spoelstra, which we did finally get to see in Miami at the very end of the season because Bob and Amy were right. I was listening to them yesterday, too. It's been weird as far as this series was concerned during the regular season because there's not much you can pull from it. But as we know, and I think it was Josh Hart who said it a couple weeks ago, like, bro, Jimmy is just chilling until he gets to the playoffs, and then he turns into playoff Jimmy, as we all know. But another year on the tire treads, right? So I still agree. I still think he's going to be awesome tonight. That doesn't mean he's going to be playoff Jimmy of 2 or 3 or 4 years ago. Eric Spoelstra, one of, if not the best coaches in the NBA, he's always going to have plans for whatever happens. But on the other side of things this year, when it comes to coaches, I'm going to put Nick Nurse up there right alongside Eric Spoelstra. I mean, the last couple of days at practice, guys, the level of attention to detail has been so intense. I'm not sure if there's a situation that they didn't run through the last couple of days in practice, whether it's an inbounds play at the end of the second quarter. And here's what we're going to do. Okay, Kyle Lowry, you were on this team for the last 2 years. How do you expect the Heat to defend this inbounds play? Okay, let's run it again. How else do we think they could defend this inbounds play? Okay, we know that they're going to play the 2-3 zone. let's have Joel in the middle. Okay, let's have Nico in the middle. Let's rotate every single wing who we think is going to play tonight through their different paces. So, again, Spoelstra and Jimmy, top-notch. We have all seen what they do. Obviously, they've got great shooters, and Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero's just back from injury. I think Bam Adebayo is one of the most underrated bigs in the NBA, so I don't expect this to be easy in any sense of the word, but when it comes to what the Sixers have this year, with Joel now back healthy, with everything the guys had to figure out without Joel the last couple of months, and with Nick Nurse and this coaching staff who always love to dive into a problem and figure out the answer before they actually get to that problem, I think that's where my confidence is coming from this morning.
Kate, Daryl Morey was on with Bob Cooney and Amy Fadula yesterday, and he talked about the Sixers heading into the playoffs with an upswing, which is something that we haven't been accustomed to, even before you were the voice of the Sixers, even back during the Zoom-off days, right? It was Embiid's injured,
the olden days.
or there was a nagging injury for somebody else, or there was drama surrounding a player like a Ben Simmons. Is this the best that you have felt about the Sixers going into the playoffs?
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's because of all of those things, right? Health is so huge going into the playoffs. I mean, I'm sure all of us were watching the first playing game last night where Zion's looking awesome, and then all of a sudden, oh gosh, he tweaks a little something. Now all of a sudden, their second playing game, who knows what's going to happen. So the fact that finally, as opposed to stumbling our way into the postseason or limping our way and then looking at our bench and saying, gosh, I don't know if we have the depth, okay, you know, that guy's a really great shooter. That guy might be able to defend a couple people, but we've got the health, as you mentioned, Chunas. I'm looking at our bench. Buddy Hield, one of the best shooters in the NBA. Paul Reed, who has played out of his mind this season as a backup. And because Joel was out, got a lot of starting minutes, which I think are going to bode well for him this postseason. I mean, our rookie Council the Fourth, who's like Paul Reed 2.0, everybody loves him. Anytime he checks in, you can just feel the energy from the team and from the entire arena lift. And then, the way they closed out the season, I know you guys have been talking about it, 8-0 to close the year. And it wasn't a cakewalk. They beat the top seed in the West in OKC. They beat Miami down in South Beach. And I don't think we can overstate what that win may have quietly done for their confidence, because it was just game 2 back for Joel Embiid, because Jimmy was back, because it was in South Beach, which we all know has been a house of horrors of sorts for the Philadelphia 76ers. And then 2 of those 8 games they won without Joel, including, obviously, one of the biggest games of the year, that double OT game down in San Antonio, which I'd even forgotten was on the second half of a back-to-back. So they played like 3 games in 2 days without Joel. Kyle didn't play for that one either. So I just feel like all the things you need to be successful when it comes to the postseason, your health, your momentum, your buy-in. And, if you can have any rhythm and good vibes, that was another thing the last couple of days of practice. It was cool to see the attention to detail and the level of detail they were giving to every scenario that they expect to face tonight, but also just like this calm, cool confidence of these guys that have weathered so many storms already in the regular season. It's like, okay, this is next up. We got the MVP back. Let's go. Bring on the heat tonight here at the center.
Kate, I tend to dwell on words too much. And on Sunday afternoon in the Kincade, as I'm watching your fine broadcast with Ollie,
what did we say?
You two kept saying, hopefully, they hope to have Joel. You were very clear with your wording. Can you assure me this morning that everything's fine and that we're gonna see Joel tonight, and that there's nothing being hidden behind the scenes? You're feeling good about it.
I'm feeling very good about it, John. And as you know, sometimes when you are voices of a team, certain words are emphasized and wink-nudged to you.
And you did use that word over and over again.
I love my job, and I'm very excited to hopefully be here chatting with all of you for a number of years to come. But the big fella has looked good the last couple of days, so I'm excited about tonight.
That makes me happy.
That makes me
really happy. Now I'm breathing, Connor. Now I'm breathing.
All right, Kate. This might be unfair, even though I don't think it's unfair because he is one of your max contract players. But I said earlier today that I'm going to put a lot of pressure on Tobias Harris tonight, even though I do know if the Sixers lose, it's probably because of an Embiid issue or a Maxey issue. But Tobias Harris deserves to have some pressure on him, and I think it's fair to say that the relationship between Harris and fans, not that it's bad blood because of who he is as a person, but it's been an off relationship over the last 5 years between Tobias Harris and the fans. But I think he needs to put pressure on himself tonight for one reason and one reason only. And I want to tell you if this is fair or unfair. Kate, take a listen.
Tobias Harris over me?
Jimmy Butler walking off the court 2 years ago. Tobias Harris over me? Is there extra pressure on Tobias Harris to shut up that narrative tonight?
I don't think there is, but I completely hear you. And if I was Toby, and from what I've known, getting to know this awesome human being and basketball player, I think he's coming into tonight's game pissed off for greatness, as I like to say. And I don't know if that's going to be a 20-10 game. I don't know if that's let me defend Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, or give me some minutes on Jimmy. I want to shut this dude down. I don't know what that looks like exactly, but I love that because, again, it's obviously been a few decades since I played anything, but even as a pissed-off 13-year-old soccer and tennis player, I was like, oh, you want to talk? Okay, let's get out on the floor, roll the ball out, and let's go. I'll show you where that talk deserves to go. So yeah, I know Toby doesn't do that much talking, but we all know he heard it. We all know that he's got a whole lot of pride. Every dude out there tonight does. So I understand what you said about the extra pressure, but I think the pressure is just going to come from himself wanting to perform to the best of his abilities against a team that has been a thorn in their side. And we know it's not going to be an easy out, but at the same time, if they can get past the Heat, I mean, we're pretty excited about how this postseason could shake out, right? There's not going to be anything easy about it the whole way.
Now you're
if they can get past this one tonight, guys, it could be interesting.
Now, hopefully, you're going to be doing traveling, right, and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be getting a lot of coverage out of you.
Tonight is the ESPN exclusive,
right?
But then Al and I get back on things for the first round, and then we'll see what happens after that. So
looking forward to
I like your thinking, Tuna. Yeah.
Well, we'll miss you tonight, but we can't wait to hear you again in the first round of the playoffs after they take care of business tonight against the Miami Heat. Kate, we appreciate it as always,
Kate.
and we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Is it 7 o'clock yet?
No, it's not. Go take a walk.
We're counting down. There she is, Kate Scott on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Comcast Business gets you ready for what's next. Coming up next, I know we don't want to look ahead.
No, because Bob Cooney's going to throat punch us if we do.
If we look ahead in terms of storylines,
all right,
they should win that one. They should win that one.
No, I got you.
In terms of storylines, I think that's something we could do because, oh my God, the storylines that could be ahead of the Sixers in this postseason run are actually awesome. We'll talk about them all coming your way next. It's Kincade and Salciunas. It's Kincade and Salciunas. Jeez. We only got an hour left of the show. 97.5 The Fanatic.
We are talking sports with you all day, every day.
I do not think the Eagles will draft a linebacker in the first round. I do not think they will draft a cornerback in the first round. I think that they're going to find an edge rusher or an offensive lineman. I'll go offensive line first round, and I would say there's a chance you get 2 offensive linemen in their first 4 picks in the draft.
The Eagles need to draft defense. Whatever position, corner, would be the most logical.
Well, I don't read mock drafts because I think they're bogus up until the actual week of the draft. But I'll give you a name that I've had my eye on, Tyler Guyton. He's an offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. He's worked with Lane Johnson. Like, they're working during the offseason. He's a guy that can play right guard to start right away. And then eventually when Lane Johnson retires, like all the other guys are leaving, he could be his replacement. So Tyler Guyton, Oklahoma.
One position I think the Eagles should go for is cornerback this draft. Darius Slay is getting up there in age. James Bradbury obviously was not very good last year. I think you have to draft a young corner to try to solidify that position.
I would love for the Eagles to take a little-known defensive back out of Washington College, Connor Thomas, but I don't think he's really in shape anymore. So I'm going to go with a better defensive back. Give me Kool-Aid McKinstry.
I think the Eagles need to take a cornerback or maybe a tackle to solidify the right tackle spot when Lane Johnson eventually leaves.
I would also say that the Eagles should take a cornerback just to show that they need some more depth throughout the rest of the season, as the cornerback positions that we've seen throughout this year did not do that. So I'm going to go with cornerback.
The Eagles to draft, and the draft's coming up at the end of the month, a linebacker. They always draft a linebacker. You know they're going to draft a linebacker. They're going to draft a good linebacker because it's linebacker university with the Philadelphia Eagles.
I want you to be honest with us. Would you rather be right, even though it might be a negative opinion about your teams, or would you rather be wrong, which means your team benefits from it? I know the Sixers are a prime example. Ben Simmons was a prime example. It's also like the Doc Rivers thing with the best show ever always says he never won a game in this town. Tyrese Maxey drops 52 points last night. Dude, in 54 minutes.
Imagine
54 minutes.
That was unbelievable. And more importantly, it's you don't expect when Joel Embiid's out that Tyrese Maxey can just carry the franchise to huge success. But what he's shown you, like 3 different nights.
Yes.
He can put up 50.
Yeah.
He can put up, and he's one of those guys that can do that. That can, on a given night, he can do it. And more importantly, on the other nights, he's not crappy.
Right.
He's just a little more human.
Yeah.
Last night, they needed an inhuman effort. It would have secured them. If they had lost last night, it would have secured them that they were in the play-in game.
Right. And now you still have a chance.
Now they
to
still
get to
have
the
a
6th
chance.
seed. And I know it's still tough to get there, and we'll
Math
get to that
bad,
later
yes.
on. But look, that was a great win for the Sixers.
Him tonight nationally, it is the women's Final Four, and I'll tell you, it's got more attention than I think any time I've been alive. But North Carolina.
So we have another question, right, about the Phillies. I'm sorry. This is what happens. You get a couple people in the room that love talking hoops and changes. What's up, Joe?
Have you guys seen the new city editions? And do you like that they're wearing them every Sunday for all the Sunday games?
They'll be unveiled at 10.
There was the.
They're out.
Yeah, no, I don't believe it is. I don't believe it's the stuff that you see.
You don't think it's the?
I do
the
not.
lightning one?
No, I
do. I've heard that the hat is pretty fire.
I will tell you that the jerseys that have been leaked out are the jerseys that you wear.
They are.
Yes.
Well, I think.
I didn't know if you were going to tell
I think they look like a softball home run hitting.
Oh, I think they're.
I don't like them.
I don't like them at all.
But I'm a very boring traditional.
I want
the color scheme.
I don't need. It's trying too hard.
So it's the color scheme and it's the lettering and it's the.
The Phillies have such. What do the Phillies have? 4 in the rotation now.
Yes.
I'm still gonna buy one.
I'm not. I my baby blue, man. The powder blue. That's all I need.
Like he's a powder blue guy.
Yeah, but the light is too much for me. It's way too much.
It's the lightning with the yellow.
Yeah.
All right.
Just doesn't. No.
Too much going on.
No, too much. I do not think the Eagles will draft a linebacker in the first round. I do not think they will draft a cornerback in the first round. I think that they're going to find an edge rusher or an offensive lineman. I'll go offensive line first round, and I would say there's a chance you get 2 offensive linemen in their first 4 picks in the draft.
The Eagles need to draft defense. Whatever position, corner, would be the most.
That made me laugh. It's horrible, but it made me laugh.
Did Connor fall down or something?
No.
What happened?
It's something about Tobias Harris. I'll tell you about it in a minute.
Oh, my gosh.
But I want to let you know about 2 incredible contests that we have going on right now. First, the one that we've been telling you about for a couple of weeks now, our contest of Avelo Airlines for you to win a 2 round trips, or somebody you nominate to win 2 round trips.
You're not winning them.
Yeah.
You have to nominate somebody.
Yeah, but they could bring you. Visit the contest page, 975thefanatic.com, to nominate someone who you think deserves to win 2 round trip flights on Avelo Airlines. You cannot nominate yourself, but you can nominate somebody.
If I think I'm going to tell you right now, you're not getting my vote. If I think you're nominating somebody that will take you, you ain't getting my vote.
Interesting.
I'm just telling you.
Last week we had a father nominate his daughter.
That's different.
Okay. Well, what if?
Because the daughter's not taking her dad.
Why? You don't know that.
Yes, I do. I got a 20-year-old. If she's got a chance to go to down to Miami or something.
I don't know if she was 20. I don't know what age she was. What if they wanted to spend a nice weekend away?
No, not getting my vote.
Whoever you would like to bring would be awesome for the winners of this
it has to be something.
contest.
It has to be somebody. Look,
Connor's available.
Step outside yourself and do something kind for somebody else.
Well, they are doing something kind.
Not where you think you're benefiting yourself.
They got them a round trip.
By the way,
on Avelo Airlines.
Avelo's freaking awesome.
It is, and this is all sponsored by Avelo Airlines and Wilmington Airport. Delaware's favorite airport is close to home and it's convenient parking, shore lines, and an easy, relaxed atmosphere to fly Avelo out of the Wilmington Airport. Visit VeloAir.com. We gave out our first 4 winners last Friday, 4 more this Friday, 4 more the following Friday.
By the way, Dino, D-E-A-N-O, so Dino, flew a Velo for the first time. He said from parking through security, 11 minutes.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
He says, I can't think of all the time that I've spent sitting in the major airport in our city.
Yeah.
He said it was a little more of a drive for him.
Well, of course.
He lives in the Northeast, so down 95. He said it was 11 minutes from the time he parked his car
But you
to
know
the
what?
time
The
he was through
excitement
security.
of the drive to the airport far outweighs the stress and anxiety
of getting
and
in there.
disappointment of
Right.
sitting in a line. So
It's unbelievable.
Fly a Velo, man, at VeloAir.com. All right. I just saw a promo that DraftKings is running on their sports book.
Okay.
The Him Over Me SGP.
Oh, no.
What are you doing?
No, this is what DraftKings is doing, not me.
No, I got you. I think it's brilliant.
Jimmy Butler, 20-plus points. Jimmy Butler, 5-plus rebounds. Tobias Harris, under 14.5 points. They boosted it to plus 1,000. It's the, quote, Him Over Me parlay. That's horrible,
That's nasty work.
But it makes me laugh.
And is it worth a flyer?
I'm sure for some people
I
it
don't
is.
think you could be allowed to bet on that.
No, you can't. As a Sixers fan, you cannot.
No, you cannot.
absolutely cannot bet on that if you're a Sixers fan.
No, you cannot.
But it is hilarious, I will say.
It is fine work by whoever created the line.
Yes, absolutely.
Give him credit.
All right, so the storylines
Oh, my gosh.
of this potential playoff run, not who they're going to beat.
Right, exactly.
Let's just talk about the storylines. Tonight, it's Sixers-Miami. It's Embiid, Butler. It's Tobias, Butler.
Nurse versus Spoelstra.
Two heavyweight coaches.
Oh, it's awesome.
They're in great shape. But I'm talking about the heavyweight
No, it's
battle.
awesome.
Yeah. It's incredible storylines. The Heat knocked out the Sixers a couple of times now in the playoffs. It's a great storyline for tonight's game. If you are taking on the Knicks, let's say they beat the Heat tonight. Let's do that.
Okay.
You're taking on the Knicks. The storylines, the Philly-New York thing's number one, incredible.
It's spectacular.
But don't forget all the random reports that come out of nowhere about the Knicks are going to do whatever they can to get Joel Embiid. Remember those reports that they come out like once every 6 months all of a sudden?
And then Joel doesn't squash them by saying whether I win a championship. I want to win a championship in Philly or wherever.
That didn't help. Yeah, that didn't help. But those storylines, and oh, by the way, far down the line, because Villanova's not a city school, the Villanova players
it's a good Delco
playing
school.
the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yes.
I mean, think about that.
That's going to be fun.
It's Brunson, it's DiVincenzo. There's a bunch of guys from Villanova going up against the Philadelphia 76ers.
It's awesome.
That's the Sixers-Knicks. Sixers-Bucks, so I have to explain.
Oh, jeez.
Nick Nurse versus Doc Rivers. And, oh, by the way, Sixers versus Dame Lillard, who I wanted. A lot of people, a lot of Sixers fans wanted. So there's that angle.
Have you watched him in Milwaukee?
It hasn't been great.
Because I've got to tell you, I wonder, and I wondered it before, though. Like, the man has no interest in one end of the court. And
Right.
He is a spectacular talent, but he is obviously a declining asset.
Well, he was good until he ran from the grind.
Right, he ran. That's right. Yeah, he ran from the grind.
Not the same
I
player.
do also wonder, how does he play?
And he's a horrible rapper, by the way.
I wonder, how does he play with Embiid more so than
Yes.
Giannis? Because Giannis is full court all the time.
Absolutely.
Whereas Embiid's half court. It might actually be. Dame may have
You
actually
think
been
it
better
could be
here
better?
because it's more of a half court setting here. Now,
It could be.
But now
I mean-
Tyrese Maxey loses some
Exactly.
of it.
Then
So,
it kills everything else in the food
right,
chain.
Right. So there's those storylines. If it's the Pacers thing, everybody who still cries over Tyrese Halliburton, I think about my man, the NJ betting guru, who always brings up Halliburton. You could play Tyrese Halliburton. And, oh, by the way, Pascal Siakam, who broke Joel Embiid's face.
If you'd made the Halliburton deal, you would have already been out of the second round.
Okay.
I truly believe.
Well, let's see if Halliburton can get out of the second round.
He is not supposed to be carrying a team, just like people made the excuse for.
No, people talk about Tyrese
No.
Halliburton as the guy that carries the team.
They don't talk about him like Joel Embiid. Stop it. They
The
do
way
not.
people talk about
no, they
Tyrese
do not.
Halliburton,
No, they do
talk
not.
about how he should be.
That's fiction.
A
That
big,
is not.
a big player. And then
he's supposed to be a Maxey type.
Okay.
And if they had brought him here instead of going with the other deal, they would have gotten out of the second round.
That's his dream boat, Tyrese Halliburton. So you can watch Halliburton.
There you go.
And then in the Eastern Conference Finals, again, Sixers Celtics one more time. There's so many storylines.
It's gonna be awesome
in this potential playoff run. We hope it goes as long as freaking possible. All right, 9 o'clock hour. We will reset the entire show. What we've been talking about has been a big Sixers day, also pretty big Eagles day because Howie Roseman spoke to the media yesterday. We have some more things to get to from Howie. Also, Adam Schefter joined us earlier today, said some incredible things. The Hassan Reddick thing was very interesting. We'll replay the best 5 minutes from Shefty. And you asked a question, John, before the show started about what the Knicks' preference might be.
Yes.
We're so focused on this Sixers angle, as we should be.
Who are they rooting for tonight?
What do the Knicks want? We'll talk about that next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. this?
What do you have that look on your face for?
Because it's evil.
Oh, I like that.
Because it's something I said yesterday, and it's playing to fruition. So, real quick, we're all excited for tonight's game. Can't wait for the Sixers to take on the Miami Heat. Can't wait for the Sixers to take care of business against the Miami Heat and hopefully go on a long playoff run, right? And we're going to get into a conversation about what the Knicks might want. Do they want to face the Sixers? Do they want to face the Heat? We'll play the Adam Schefter 5 best minutes coming up about 9:10. But a tweet from your Philadelphia 76ers. Connor, I said this to John yesterday. I don't want this to happen, but I also want it to happen to see John's head explode.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Representing the red, white, and blue, Joel Embiid. The 2024 USA basketball men's national team. John Kincade, it looks like Embiid will be playing. Look, I don't think this is the final word, but the Sixers putting out the tweet that Joel Hans Embiid will represent the United States of America.
So a guy who misses gigantic periods of time every regular season due to injuries, and misses time due to needing rest, even when he's healthy, needs load management, is now going to hopefully go on a long playoff run.
Yes.
And instead of resting and making sure that everything's set for the team that employs him, it's going to be, I want to get ready.
Look behind you. Ray Dunn is waving the United States flag.
No, Ray.
USA.
No, Ray.
USA.
No.
USA.
Ray should go get a French flag next.
He's not playing for France.
Because Joel was campaigning to be on the French team. So you got to do a little research here. He was trying to find any way that he could get in. It wasn't about playing for this.
He was campaigning. He was weighing his options.
You are absolutely being ridiculous.
He has dual citizenship.
I understand.
He's got tri-citizenship.
He's got tri-citizenship, I think.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Which, by the way, I think is just not fair. I just don't think it's fair.
That's because you're jealous.
No, I say it's this. My wife is Jamaican.
Yes.
Became an American citizen at 13, came to this country at 10. And I just say, and she is an American citizen, and she revoked her Jamaican citizenship.
What if she was playing Olympic basketball?
Yeah,
she
exactly.
revoked. She is so proud. She is so happy to be an American.
So is Joel Embiid. That's why he's suiting up for the red, white, and blue.
Except if he could play for France. Or look, a nonsense. A man who misses this much time and a man who needs nights off of the regular season because he needs more rest should not be playing in the Olympics. You know it, and I know it, but you two are just going to be yourselves to tweak me.
I told you, I don't want him to play.
No, I know that, but you understand
I want to see your head explode. I get a kick out of it.
Well, guess what?
It's entertaining.
It's going to get worse.
Your hair's actually gotten higher up. It's going off your head right now.
Thank you very much. Michael Coletti does a great job with it. He really does.
Listen, bottom line is, we're fired up for the Sixers game tonight, and Joel Embiid will be playing tonight.
By the way, I haven't done this in the 20-some shows we've done. Screw you, Salciunas.
Yes.
You just want me distracted.
Yes. Oh, no, it's not distracted.
You got it. Well, you got it.
No, that's content, baby.
Oh, you did.
And it's Philadelphia sports related. We didn't go off the rails, right? Connor can't even yell at me.
No, you can do that for the next hour if you want
It's Sixers related. But you're right. I don't want him to play in the Olympics.
He shouldn't. No, take it further. He should not play in the Olympics. When you can't play the full schedule because you need nights off, because you need load management, and you've been injured and had major injuries that have derailed you from your major goal to win an NBA championship, here is my free pass. Get this team to the NBA Finals. Get this team a championship. I would absolutely say, Joel, go play in the Olympics with my brother.
So if he plays an extra month and puts more tread on the tires,
I'm
then
actually
you
going to
want
say
him to play?
because this should be the number one focus.
It is.
And it isn't. Not if you're going to work during your off season when he needs rest.
Whoa,
it's too grueling.
It's not like guys don't play basketball during the off season. They play. I've seen Ben Simmons highlights.
I've seen documented
I've seen Ben Simmons highlights more than he does in the NBA.
I don't know how many documented stories I've seen of maybe Joel, the offseason's living it up a bit. And it takes a while to round back into
Well,
getting
then you
ready
should
to
be
go.
happy about this. That
No,
means
I
he's gonna,
shouldn't
that
be.
means he's going to keep on playing basketball.
No, I shouldn't be. There's going to be like something, I don't know, slip it in the shower
Well, maybe
or
they'll
something like
maybe
that.
they'll do load management during the Olympics. You know how he didn't play against the Grizzlies the other night? Maybe he won't play against Ghana, right?
Or like Lithuania.
Yeah, no.
Oh, no.
Dude, he's got to play. He's got to play against Lithuania because Jonas Valanciunas will get, he'll go to work.
Is that your cousin?
I wish.
There you go.
He doesn't know that I exist, but I know him. All right, so the Sixers play the Heat tonight. And so much is focused on the Sixers, obviously, because we are the home of the Philadelphia 76ers. We are Philadelphia sports fans. But the question is, who do the New York Knicks want? And it's you could make the case for both, I guess.
Well, I mean, we think of it this way. If we were in the Knicks' shoes, we'd be watching this play-in game tonight.
Probably we'd be rooting for the Heat.
And we'd all have a rooting interest. You
And,
know
it would,
what I mean?
it would probably be the Miami Heat.
And we'd probably be rooting.
But I wonder, if you are a Knicks fan, the Miami Heat are much more battle-tested. And
Much more.
And there is a fear to playoff Jimmy, right? Kate Scott even said it. Playoff Jimmy can flip it on at any time. Now, she thinks maybe because there's been extra years of it, maybe the Sixers benefit from that tonight. I don't know. Playoff Jimmy's a real deal, right? It is a real thing. And I wonder maybe the Knicks worry about a playoff Jimmy. Jalen Brunson, who's dropping 40 points. Jimmy Butler's the one that's going up against him, right? So maybe he can slow down Jalen Brunson a little bit. Whereas I don't think that Sixers really have that perimeter defense to stop a Jalen Brunson right now. DeAnthony Melton could have been that piece, but I don't think he's going to be healthy during the playoffs. Daryl Morey said it yesterday again with Bob and Amy that Bob and Amy that DeAnthony Melton's probably not going to be ready for the playoffs. I don't know what the answer is if you're a Knicks fan. I really don't.
No. But I love the fact, too, that the Knicks will have the number 2 seed pressure on them. Because that brings high expectations. You're supposed to be a conference finals team.
Right.
Nothing less will do.
Connor, if you're the Knicks, if you're a Knicks fan, who are you hoping to face in the first round?
Bro, it's almost an impossible question.
Right?
Because Embiid could be the best basketball player on the planet, or you could be getting a true 7-seed team if he's not fully healthy throughout that entire series. The Heat could stink, or Jimmy Butler could turn into a superhuman again. The Sixers and the Heat are the two biggest what-if teams in the NBA, I think, right now. And they're playing each other, and you could get either one of them, and that's going to make it really, really interesting.
So
these storylines are absolutely fantastic.
Did Doc do it right?
I think Doc threw the game Sunday.
Did he do it right then?
He might have.
He may have.
Because I would say this. If I'm the Knicks, I would have rather played the Pacers more so than both the Sixers and Heat.
I don't think you want to play Giannis.
Wow.
Without Giannis, you don't want to play Embiid.
No, I'm talking about
So
if I'm the Knicks. If I'm the Knicks, I wish Doc won.
No, I agree.
And I wish to play the Pacers.
I think Doc threw the game.
Yeah.
And I think the Knicks, I don't know. I don't know how the Knicks approached that. They played hard, and I
had to
think
go
they
to
wanted.
overtime.
I think they wanted the 2 seed though, because the Knicks wanted to say we're going to have home court for 2 series.
Right.
Because they consider that Madison Square Garden is, and they keep talking about it as the Mecca. It hasn't been the Mecca. It's been called that. It hasn't been the Mecca since I was in 3rd grade.
And oh, by the way, if they get 2 home series, Sixers could very well win that series.
They
That's certainly
absolutely
true.
could.
They could absolutely.
They wouldn't get the second home series
Right,
if the Sixers get in.
Absolutely. All right,
That's
let's go to Solus Ryan. What's up, Ryan?
Tunis, what's up?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Good, homie. Nice to hear you in the morning. So Embiid, obviously the health, blah, 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 blah. I'm so sick of talking about it. But he has a lot to prove. And I think this team has a lot to prove. And we got Nurse as a great, great coach. I'm thinking very positive for a Philadelphia fan.
Nice.
And I think that they're going to be, obviously, I won a championship, but I definitely think finals. I really, like.
Well, the Pats
Why do you think they're beating Boston?
For some reason, I do.
I got to have more than that.
Could be a gut feeling, John.
It is. It's a gut feeling.
It's a gut feeling. You had a gut feeling earlier this morning.
I did.
It's a gut feeling. Now, just real quick, the Birds. I think it's really interesting what they did. We bulked up on offense. Offense should be absolutely ridiculous this year. Defense is kind of a litmus test. And if things don't span out this year, we bulk up on offense this year. Next year, the logical thing, Howie looking towards the future, bulk up on defense. And then it's,
it looks like Howie is thinking down the line. Thanks for the call, brother. It looks like he's not just thinking about 20. He said it. We played a clip, and we'll play it again later on. He's not thinking about just 2024.
And I like that.
And that's the smart thing to do. I just want to win a championship right away. I want to win a championship every single year. That's the fan in me. I think everybody fan wants to win a championship every single year, but he is doing it in a smart way, and I think that should be celebrated. All right, it is time now for our best 5 minutes. He joins us every single Wednesday, 8 o'clock, of Adam Schefter. He was incredible today. There was a lot of nuggets in there. Take a listen. From ESPN, the great Adam Schefter. All right, Schefty, we're 8 days away from the NFL draft. We are so fired up for it. The reason why we're excited for it is because we don't know what the Eagles are going to do. They can do their typical drafting of the trenches. They can draft back, or they can make a trade. Schefty, one of the big spots when it comes to trading is cornerback, a starter in the NFL right now. Is there a market going into the NFL draft for corners around the NFL that are already starters?
You guys asked me a couple of weeks ago, is there a big move they're going to make? And I believe I told you the big move that I expected they'll make would be to extend their own players. And since then, they've extended Jordan Mailata and Devontae Smith, right?
That is correct.
So they've gotten those done. And we had that conversation before those deals came down. Those deals have come down in the last couple of weeks. And I think I would stick to the same answer. I don't think that they're trading for another Darius Slay type corner. I'm trying to think if there is a corner out there that I don't know that would be available right now.
How about one in Denver? How about Patrick Surtain? Do you believe he's on the table?
No.
Okay.
No. And by the way, when you ask me that name, look, there's always curveballs, and I guess we could hear next week that Denver's all of a sudden trading Patrick Surtain.
Wow.
Is it Surtain or Surtain?
I always go the Surtain, but tomato.
Yeah. Anyway, Denver shut that down pretty quickly last year, and that is the first time I've heard his name this offseason. Now that doesn't mean it won't be the last, and maybe his name does come up, but I have not heard that once, not once. And by the way, I don't know how much cap room Philly has left, but they just paid all their own guys. And to me, what they're always looking to do at this time of the year is they're always looking to figure out a way to go up, a few slots in the draft to go get the guy that they really want, to make sure that he's there, whoever that may be. And that's where I think they'll wind up doing again. Like, what number are they, 22?
22, 50, 53.
Right. So all of a sudden 22 turns into, I'm making this up, 19, and they get the guy they wanted, right? Rather than sweating it out to 20. Like that, they've done that consistently in multiple recent years. But in terms of the cornerback stuff, you bring up the Broncos cornerback, Surtain. I got to ask the proper pronunciation. Either a Surtain, but again, first I've heard of that. I haven't heard too many other cornerback names. And typically, when there's a guy that a team is looking to trade at this time of the year, they're looking to trade him because he wants to get paid, or he's in the last year and they're not planning to pay him, or contract talks have broken down and they're not going anywhere. And I'm not aware right now of a particular cornerback who fits into that category where a team is so disappointed at the state of negotiations that they're ready to turn their back on that guy and trade him to Philadelphia, no less. I haven't heard that at all.
All right, last one for you, Shefty. We always appreciate your time. Something that John and I are keeping an eye on is Hassan Reddick's contract talk in New York, because it doesn't seem like anything's happened yet. We haven't heard anything that it is happening. There's the confusion of, if he doesn't get a new deal, why couldn't he have just finished off his deal here in Philadelphia? Is there contract talk approaching for Hassan Reddick? And if there isn't, why couldn't he just finished it off here as opposed to going to New York?
Well, I think it is built up. And I think they felt like, I don't know, this has gone on for 2 years. Like there was some contract scar tissue. And I just think that sometimes you get to a spot like that where if you make a decision you're not going to, like in New York, I think that I'm sure there's a belief that they could work towards a contract this offseason and potentially maybe get it done before the season begins. And in Philadelphia, I don't think they were going to pay him.
All right, that's
Okay,
that's
there you go.
plain and simple.
There we go.
All right, Adam.
Good job,
Listen, man.
Adam.
We appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you next week. All right, that was your best 5 minutes from Shefty. It looked like they were never going to pay Hassan Reddick. So we
summed it up at the end really well.
It was plain and simple what he said. So we'll talk about that more coming up. But real quick, it's incredible stuff as always. John has talked about the AACR every single day because at the end of the show we always talk about the AACR. But
I'm like Drew Carey at the end of Price is Right.
Yeah, but the amazing work that they do, and we're now joined by Mitch from the AACR. Johnny, you got some great stuff coming up, and you've been telling us about some great things that you guys have accomplished.
Yeah, Mitch, it was great that we were able to send 22 young research minds to your big conference last week in San Diego, which is honestly one of the greatest collections of cancer researchers in the entire world.
Hey, John. Hey, Andrew. This is Mitch. Yes, very, very excited about the 22 John Kincade scholars. As a matter of fact, we have a great picture of the young people, John, which we'll send your way.
Awesome.
But to see these young, energetic minds, and because of your efforts, and Andrew, excited to have you on board. I know you've already been supporting us for a number of years, but to see these young, energetic, enthusiastic scientists, John, one day these people are going to find cures for other cancers that are out there right now. And thank you so much for what you and the team have done to make that all possible.
And Mitch, when we started this back in 2021, this partnership with our morning show and then the AACR, I didn't realize I'd fall to a third cancer. And look what happened. My life was saved because of a cancer protocol that 6 years ago would not have existed for somebody. And that just says it all. I'm here today because of the fine work of researchers like the AACR supports every single day.
Well, John, we just came back from San Diego again for our annual meeting, 23,000 scientists working really, really hard. But as an example, we're talking about really new innovative things like liquid biopsies, artificial intelligence. And the bottom line is that because of support from folks from 97.5 and your great efforts, we're able to make advances. And we're so happy that this worked out well for you and your family. You're a great ambassador. You're a great you're an inspiring guy, and I love being around you. And by the way, don't forget that we have we just launched the podcast, Believe in Progress, with you this morning. So we'd love for your listeners to click in and listen to Believe in Progress, the AACR Foundation's podcast.
I'll retweet that one out there to people too. And Mitch Stoller from the AACR. Andrew, I will tell you that the day before I told Philly last year that I was sick with cancer, we were at Game 6 of the Sixers-Celtics series.
Oh, my God.
Sitting next to Mitch. And Mitch, Liv and I were there. And you saw my daughter. Mitch is quite the passionate Sixers fan also. And that Game 6 scarred me as much as cancer did.
It scarred me as well. But you know what? We're focused on tonight, right, Andrew? Big win tonight for the Sixers, hopefully.
Yeah, take care of business, take on the Knicks in the first round, and then it's a nice path for the team.
There you go. Take on the Knicks, and we'll beat them and move on.
And, Mitch, we're asking everybody today, aacr.org/fanatic, make a donation. We've got some nice T-shirts to give away to you if you make a donation $20 or more, just to get people's awareness rolling. But I want to tell you, Mitch, let's just say behind the scenes, we're not going to announce it today, but Salciunas came with an idea. He goes, look, I want to get involved with this too, and I think we've got something planned for later this year that'll just blow the doors off this partnership and get a lot of our listenership involved. But we'll fill you all in, all right, behind the scenes, I promise.
That's great, and we're very excited about that. I made a $50 donation this morning, so it looks like a really cool shirt, and so people should jump on it and make their donation as soon as possible. And Andrew, thank you so much. Excited to have you helping us out.
Yeah, can't wait. The idea that John and I have been kicking around, it's gonna be a fun one. We were expanding on the idea this morning, so
yeah, we've been expanding it further. So I mean,
right,
we've done
and we
more.
haven't told other people about it. Just between John and I talking about it. So it's a fun idea that we have.
All I'm going to say is, Mitch, it may be more fun for Andrew than me, but I'm ready for it and excited, and we'll talk about it. Mitch Stoller from the AACR, thank you so much. We look forward to year 4 of our partnership.
Great. Thanks, John. Thanks, Andrew. Go Sixers, go Eagles, and go all the Philly teams. Talk to you guys soon.
You're the man, Mitch. Thank you. Thank you so much to Mitch and the AACR. What they do is incredible work, and how much you are a part of it. It's amazing.
And I'm not exaggerating that, honestly, 6 years ago, someone had my diagnosis. They didn't have my protocol.
Wow. Yeah.
That's all I'll tell you.
Thanks to the AACR,
Thank
man.
you, people, and we appreciate everybody in the audience.
I'm glad that I'm doing this, dude. Sometimes.
Wait a minute. It would just be the Salciunas show. No, that's a dark humor. We don't want to do that.
All right, coming your way next. We're going to expand on this Howie Roseman not wanting to pay Hassan Reddick thing. Adam Schefter just straight up told us, yeah, it just wasn't going to happen. Also, I loved doing this when I hosted Middays, when Ray was my producer. We built an SGP for big events. Tonight's a big one.
It is.
It's another way to talk about a game, like a different angle, but we'll try to make some money out of it as well. So come up with a couple of props that you love for tonight's game, and we'll build the Kincade Salciunas with Connor Thomas SGP, okay? You think you'll be able to handle that?
I'm ready for it.
All right, it's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. And for details, go to Bagster.com.
Dude, John, that was wild how your voice just did that.
I stuttered. I had a little bit of a stutter there.
I messed up one time yesterday. I get ripped for it.
Well, I stuttered, so it was all right.
It's 9:30 on Kincade and Salciunas on this Wednesday play-in day. Here's what I want to do this segment. I want to build the SGP.
Okay.
So I want us each to come up with like the 2 legs that we like the most.
I'd say mine.
I have legs that I like more than mine. Okay.
Okay.
We don't have to continue that conversation.
What, a little sticky?
There's literally a rock song called She's Got Legs, right? No, come on,
Yes.
man. All right.
And she knows how to use them.
She knows how to use them. All right. Your 2 favorite legs for tonight's Sixers Heat game, SGP. I'm going to give you one right now, and it should happen, and beat 30-plus points.
Okay, I'm absolutely. I'm in on that one. That's
it's
easy.
minus 130. It's
No,
not
I'm
even
in on
plus
that one.
money.
I'm in on that one.
Joel Embiid, 30-plus points.
Okay, that's fine. How about what's the Tyrese Maxey on threes?
Oh, dude, that's my next one.
Are you kidding me?
So I have Tyrese Maxey 3+ threes.
3+ threes, Tyrese Maxey.
But let me see what his over/under is 2.5.
Oh, that's it. Then that's it.
So
absolutely.
That was my guess.
That's
3
easy.
plus 3.
That's easy. That's my.
Damn, so I have to come up with another leg.
You got to come out with another one. So that's in there.
Connor, is there one that you like?
You know what? Buddy Hield, for all the years he's been in the league, he has not yet played in an actual playoff game. This would be a chance for him to get to that. His over-under 7.5 points. I'm taking the over on Buddy Hield points.
Wow, it's only 7.5.
That's weird.
That's 3 threes. Now,
But you know what, though? I heard yesterday Bob and Amy.
About to bring it up.
Bob and Amy talking about the rotations and everything like that, about what Buddy Hield would be against Miami compared to against other teams.
Other teams, right?
And so that's a sketchy number.
It's a sketchy
but
number.
But I'm all for it, Connor. I'm all for it.
3 threes and that hits. And
No, I'm
by
all
the
for
way,
it.
he's a great 3-point shooter. All right, added another one. So we have 3 legs so
We've
far.
had 3 legs.
Embiid 30+ points. Maxey 3+ made
over
threes,
2.5,
over
right?
2.5. Yep. And Buddy Hield's over 7.5 points.
Okay.
I told you I'm putting pressure on him.
All right.
And I don't think 15 points is too much to ask for Mr. Max contract Tobias Harris.
So it's over 14.5?
Yes, but I just did the 15+, but yes, over 14.5. Remember, DraftKings is running that Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris over me promo where they have Tobias is under. Come on. This is a big game. Tobias Harris is a big boy. 13th year in the NBA. I don't think I'm asking too much for Tobias Harris to score 15 points.
Okay.
He averages 18 a game.
I'm hesitant on that one a little bit.
All right.
But I'm okay. I'm okay with it.
I'll
If you
go
wanna
Tobias
add-
Harris,
you wanna add
15
that-
plus.
All right, can you give me the rebounds number? The points, rebounds, assists for Embiid.
Points, rebounds, and assists.
The triple number?
Yeah, it's on here somewhere. You are.
I'm sorry about that. That's always makes
I got
for
it
good
at
radio.
47.5.
You have it at 47.5. I don't have the I don't know if I could do that in a same game parlay.
Oh, you probably couldn't do that in the same parlay.
Yeah.
Okay, what is can you do a rebounds number?
Yeah, I could do a rebounds
Okay,
number.
is there a number?
Joel Embiid's rebounds, let's see here, are 11.5.
I think I'm going under.
I would go under too.
Why?
Bam.
Bam.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going under.
And
Yeah.
that's not a.
I'd go under. It's not a. It's
not a
not a knock.
slight at
It's
Embiid.
not a knock on the great Olympian and the great American Joel Embiid.
The American hero, Joel Embiid.
But like he could finish with 8, and it's an effective 8. But Bam will run for rebounds more than Embiid would because of his build. I would go under as well. I feel gross betting an under, but
No, I think it's okay for that
the
one.
sake of
I really like, and by the way, I like that one a lot.
Okay, and it's also the favorite, minus 120 at under 11.5. Connor, we need one more leg, and then I'll ask the two of you if we agree on one more. But what's the other leg that you want to add?
We're going to add, let me see what the Sixers team over is.
Okay.
Because I'm interested in their ability, if the Miami Heat go zone, which has been effective against the Sixers and effective against other teams in the past, I don't know if it's going to work as well for this Sixers team because their ability to shoot the basketball. Like, I think they're going to be able to beat the zone.
Okay.
Do you have that number? Because I can't seem to find it.
No, I have. Oh, here we go. Home team total points is 106.5.
Over.
All right, you can't add it, at least on FanDuel, into an SGP.
That's a hard one.
Man.
It's just not. It's not a part of the same game parlay.
Okay, then what we'll do is, I hate to do this, but I'll take Bam's over in rebounds. If we're going under
What's
on
what's
Embiid.
this number? Yeah, I don't mind that one at
His
all.
is 10.5.
Okay, I do it. I would take that one.
All right, so you're going to put a member of the Miami Heat in the same game parlay.
Yes.
Rebounds. You don't
It's
win by
rebounds.
rebounding.
Well, some would say that.
Nah, rebounding's not even important.
All right, I'm going to ask you guys. I think we should add it, but I'll ask you first. I'm not even putting the spread. Sixers money line added into the parlay?
Yeah.
Sixers money line, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right, so you're 7 legs.
7 legs.
Now, the totals might be different on your respective sports book.
Right.
But I have FanDuel in front of me. Embiid, 30-plus points.
Right.
Maxey, 3-plus made threes. Tobias Harris, 15-plus points.
Mm-hmm.
Buddy Hield's over of 7.5 points.
Mm-hmm.
Embiid's under in rebounds. Bam's over in rebounds. Sixers money line, a $10 bet would score you $598.
Okay, make sure you put that out on Twitter so people can see it.
Yes.
And we post this on Insta and Twitter.
I'll put this out here.
And I think we will have with those we will have a ton of people going to their sports book of choice. I'm going to Bet Parks and grabbing that.
Yep.
I think we will have a lot of people that will be in on that one.
And I will just say, if you are like Pat Egan, refuses to bet in favor of another team, even if it's just rebounds.
It's not in favor.
I know. Let's say you feel dirty betting Bam out of bio props. That's an over instead of an under. If you just took the Bam one out, a $10 bet still gets you $271.
That's
but
fine.
with the Bam over and rebounds, it's close to $600.
I think that the Bam rebounds is one of the better bets in the parlay.
So there's the Kincade and Salciunas
I like
with
that.
Connor Thomas parlay for tonight's Sixers Heat game. All right,
play of the day.
Good luck. Let's
Love
try.
that.
Let's try to win it.
That sounds good.
All right. Do we have the clip from Schefter talking about Hassan Reddick? So I asked at the end of the interview with Adam Schefter from ESPN, because you and I have talked about it a lot, but it wasn't something that I thought we would get to Shefty. But I knew we had another minute with him, so I figured I'd ask. Is there anything approaching for Hassan Reddick in New York? Because I had to ask the question, if he doesn't get an extension with the Jets, why wouldn't he have just played here?
Mm-hmm.
Shefty gives his reasoning. Never mind. He does not give his. We don't have the clip.
Look, his reasoning being there was fatigue.
Yes.
There was, but that the Eagles' bottom line, the Eagles were not paying Hassan.
So he is with the Jets in hopes. He's basically gambling.
I told you that.
He hopes that he gets the contract extension with the Jets.
And he sat there all happy at the table and said, whatever happens.
Well, maybe he's
whatever happens, whether I get an extension.
Maybe he's saying the right things.
No, I guarantee he was.
Right.
Whether I get an extension or not, whatever, I'm going to play my best. I'm going to do my hardest. That is what he should have said as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles, because he was under contract here. No matter how he was up in his feelings, no matter how he felt, that is what he should have said here.
Now, let me ask you something.
Yes.
Sometimes it's okay to be team of me when you're playing for yourself and your money and all that kind of stuff, right? Does he have a better chance of personal success? I'm not saying team success. Personal success on the Eagles' defensive front or the Jets' defensive front?
Eagles.
Because the personal success will get him paid another
Eagles.
time.
I think Eagles.
I would like to say that. I kind of lean Jets just because Bryce Huff literally had, 11 sacks playing how many less percentage of snaps of Hassan Reddick?
I got you.
That defense is still going to be really good.
That defense is going to be very good. I still think he'd be better here. That's what I would believe.
Okay.
And more importantly, as a guy who wanted Hassan Reddick here,
I wanted him back, yeah.
If he goes to the Jets and doesn't get a new contract,
I'll be ticked off.
I'm pissed at Hassan.
Yes.
For not just honoring his contract and being here.
I'll be ticked. The narrative could change.
Because he's honoring his contract, playing for a team that he didn't sign the contract with.
Right.
And because he's up in his feelings, if that's the case, that would be a really bad look for Hassan Reddick.
Yep, absolutely.
And I'm hoping that's not the case, because I wanted him here, as you did, as Connor did, as everybody did.
As
we all wanted
pretty much
him
everybody did. All right, coming your way next. It's the Kincade and Salciunas Key 3, which is our 3 best minutes from today's show. We do this every single day during this time slot at 9:47.
And a quick answer from Connor Thomas on a question.
You know what? Let's get this now. Thank
Really?
you for reminding me. I apologize. Well, because then we got the crossover with Bob Cooney.
Yes.
So, Connor.
Yes.
I don't know. I think we got a break.
Why?
He's afraid.
No, answer the question, coward.
Connor, you said the other day that if the Phillies got one game over 500, they wouldn't be below 500 again. Today, they're 2 games over 500. I give you a chance to be chesty and say it.
They're going to be playing the Rockies one more time, the White Sox 3 times. They're not going back under 500 for the rest of the season.
For the rest of the season. And are you telling? Hold on. Are you answering that question today?
Yes.
Before this game tonight?
He is.
Yes.
Live on Phillies
how would I
podcast.
answer it after this game
No,
tonight?
no, because if they lose tonight, you could say tomorrow.
No, he cannot.
No, I'm not going to say
No,
that.
I'm saying
said it.
as of right now. They
As
will
of
not be
right
under
now,
500.
the Phillies will
rest of
never
the
be
season.
below 500 again.
And
Well, they will
I think
in
you're
some
right.
other seasons, but not
I
this
think
year.
you're right. I think you're right, Connor, by the way.
I think he's right too. And oh, by the way, we should hold them to that.
Yes, we should. We
You
should
know,
expect it.
We should not. We're
I'm
not asking.
not
Are we
holding
asking
to
too
it.
much of a sweep today, Connor? I gotta ask your permission.
Yes.
Oh, get the hell out of here! They should sweep the Rockies. They've won the first 2. Take care of business tonight. You
They
have
should, so let's
you have
enjoy
all
it.
your horses in the pen ready to go.
Here we go.
Just hold them to a higher standard, Connor. Damn
I hold
it.
them to a high enough standard. They're a good baseball team.
All right, Kincade and Salciunas Key 3 coming your way next, and the crossover with Bob Cooney right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson, Ricky Batalico, and Jen Scordo.
on this Wednesday play-in day. Sixers Heat, 7 o'clock tip-off. You can listen live right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. And it's a beautiful day because the Phillies play at 6. So you get an hour of Phillies baseball to watch before you lock into the Sixers game. Then you move the Phillies to, like, the laptop, Sixers big screen. Phillies game will be over before the Sixers game is over. So then during that final quarter, you can be locked in totally on the Sixers.
It's hard for me because it's a big night in class tonight.
Ah, that's right.
Tonight's interview night. So big night in class.
Yeah, you got to work on the interviews.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of
kids
fun.
Are doing interviews. Okay, well, enjoy that. And I hope everybody can enjoy the Kincade and Salciunas Key 3.
Now, the Kincade and Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
You know me. I'm going to paint my face blue tonight, right? Like, I'm all Sixered up. John is more, hey, I've seen the good this season. I'm ready to get
being
excited.
Objective.
I want to hear from you who are like John. How are you feeling going to the playoffs? Because I know how the Sixers can trigger some people in this town. Are you ready to get excited? Are you ready to buy in? Don't give me this whole, I got to see how tonight plays out first. No. Are you willing to go all in? It's a one-game playoff, and if they win tonight, which they should win tonight, I know we don't want to look ahead to the path, but this path is there for the Sixers to actually make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
You're absolutely optimist when it comes to the Sixers.
Yes.
And that's a beautiful thing because I do believe, though, there are many more like me.
I agree, which is
Like,
why I always feel like my back's up against the wall when I'm talking about him beating the Sixers.
Well, that's because history's on the side of the people that are like me.
Yeah, but history could always change.
It can, no.
There's future, John. He was asked about the draft compensation, and how his answer just confuses me.
Well, I think you're asking a question in a vacuum without all the other factors. So, I mean, if we want to talk about all the factors that go into building the team and the resources that we put into each position, we can do that. But I don't think the question's really fair and accurately describes the transaction.
Bit of a pompous response.
Okay, that's I rarely get on Howie for being, like, sometimes people will say Howie's arrogant. You know, Howie's looking down his nose.
Right.
That is a BS answer.
Yeah.
It was a very fair question.
That was a how dare you question me question.
To bring up that a conditional pick, we're getting a pick. I don't know what you're talking about. Howie, I looked at the ESPN article, the NFL.com article this morning from the day the trade was made. The Philadelphia Eagles traded Hassan Reddick for a conditional. It's a conditional. And then they lay out the condition. For Howie Roseman to act like it was appalling, for him to act appalled, that is a legitimate question.
Sure is.
And Howie, you acted like a bit of an ass there.
The great Kate Scott.
I don't expect it to be easy in any sense of the word, but when it comes to what the Sixers have this year, with Joel now back healthy, with everything the guys had to figure out without Joel the last couple of months, and with Nick Nurse and this coaching staff who always love to dive into a problem and figure out the answer before they actually get to that problem, I think that's where my confidence is coming from this morning.
We have to bring this up, and I can't say shame on me because today's the play-in day with the Sixers. The Flyers season came to an end yesterday.
It did.
In heartbreaking fashion.
Oh, it was terrible.
And the GM of the Eagles spoke yesterday and said a lot of things, but I do have to apologize that we're an hour and 10 minutes in, and that I have not yet brought up Ranger Suarez.
And Ranger, that was beautiful.
Dude, a complete game shutout. And Peter sends in a tweet. Does a full hour of a show bearing his name without mention of Rangers' performance, does that make Andrew Salciunas the Tobias Harris of Philadelphia Sports Talk Radio? From ESPN, the great Adam Schefter. Something that John and I are keeping an eye on is Hassan Reddick's contract talk in New York.
Right.
There's the confusion of if he doesn't get a new deal, why couldn't he have just finished off his deal here in Philadelphia?
I think it has built up, and I think they felt like, I don't know, this has gone on for 2 years. Like, there was some contract scar tissue. And I just think that sometimes you get to a spot like that where if you make a decision you're not going to, like in New York, I think that I'm sure there's a belief that they could work towards a contract this offseason and potentially maybe get it done before the season begins. And in Philadelphia, I don't think they were going to pay him.
I'm going to tell you, I've never been more optimistic that the future has the possibility to change than I have this morning right now.
I'll clip that. I love that. I love it. Look, I got a confident John Kincade about the Sixers
that's
today.
what I'm feeling as far as my belief system in the Sixers making a run has potential. I don't think has ever been more confident than it is this morning.
Dude, all right, I need reaction to that.
Oh, please.
Are there other people like John where you've never been more confident than you are right now? All right, that's Kincade and Salciunas, Key 3. By the way, I want to let you know you can head to 975thefanatic.com right now to enter for a chance to win $2,000 for Mom in the Mother's Day giveaway. Sponsored by, how do I say this, Johnny? It's not Polite's.
Polites.
Polites Florist. Thank you. Polites Florist. Make Mom's Mother's Day special with beautiful flowers from Polites Florist. Now with 3 locations to serve you. Polites. Visit PolatesFlorist.com. And also the deal of the week. Splash into fun. This week only. Get 2 general admission tickets for Big Kahuna's Water Park in West Berlin, New Jersey for just $35. That's 2 tickets for the price of 1. You'll find Bob Cooney there. Get this exclusive offer while supplies last at 975thefanatic.com. What's up, Big Kahuna? That's what we call you behind the scenes.
Is that what I am now, Big Kahuna? Yeah, it's not far from my house. Good place.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I have some friends, kids that used to work there.
So that's a great deal.
It's a phenomenal place. Lots of fun
That's
there.
why it's the Fanatic deal of the week.
There it is. That's why.
Bobby, good morning. What's going on?
Good morning, boys. Everything's good. Still feeling confident that the Sixers win this game tonight?
Yes, absolutely. I have a question for you.
Okay.
What is something that you will be most attention to early on in this game?
Defense. 3-point shooting for the Sixers. How are they defending Miami in their 3-point shooting? Are they getting out on shooters? I think they're going to go with the smaller lineup tonight where it's going to be Lowry and Maxey out there. So you kind of have the quickness to stay with guys out there on the 3-point line. And then how are the Sixers doing with their 3-point shooting? Are they settling? Are we seeing scheme? Are we going more with open shot 3-pointers as opposed to just, settling for it? So I think the 3-point line early is one of the things I'm going to be looking at on both sides of the ball.
And that's a way to beat the zone. So corner threes, like a Batum, could Batum have a couple of threes tonight?
It's weird. Spoelstra doesn't like to show the zone until a little bit later. It might be later in first half. It might be predominantly third quarter, something like that. He doesn't usually start with it because I think he doesn't want teams to get used. It's really funny, like when you used to call timeouts during a game, like if you were having real good success playing man-to-man, right, and a team calls a timeout, well, what you do is you go zone. And you go zone for a couple series, so whatever their coach told them about how they wanted to attack, they forget it.
Yeah.
Then you go back to zone a little bit, and it gets them all. That's what the greatness of Eric Spoelstra is. So I don't think we'll see it early. I think we'll see it later on. But I do. I have a lot of confidence in this Sixers team tonight. And then not having Terry Rozier, I think, is a big loss.
Andrew wants to see, the step up from Tobias Harris. I honestly, after last year's playoffs, I want to see a step up from Tyrese Maxey. And I heard him and Amy having a really interesting discussion about Maxey yesterday and how maybe Spoelstra handles him because he's had some success against Tyrese.
He has. He had a 4 for 20 game Maxey did against Miami earlier this year. So you got to keep an eye on that zone. Sometimes out of that zone, they'll jump the ball. They'll jump Tyrese Maxey with 2 men, forcing him to give it up. And you got to watch that pass. It can't be a lazy pass because they'll go to look to jump into the next passing lane also. So it's how the Sixers handle Miami's zone. I think if you handle it right, there will be open shots. Then you got to knock them down.
How are you handling today's show?
Very well. Thank you, Andrew. Yes. We have a former Sixers player who actually played for Eric Spoelstra.
Oh.
Nick Stauskas will join us 11:30-ish. He's on babysitting duty, so 11:30-ish for him. And then Matt Breen's going to join us at 1 o'clock to talk all things Philly sports, including Sixers. So good day today.
That's a good day. You were
Can't
great.
wait.
You were
And
great
6
yesterday.
o'clock on Saturday, perfect.
I love it.
Perfect.
I love it. I need it.
Perfect time.
I absolutely freaking need it.
Love it.
Bobby, we
All right,
love
boys.
you.
Good job,
Have a
man.
great show today. We'll be listening.
As long as Monsignor Satino goes fast, I'll be there. Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partner, H&H Heating and Air Conditioning. Make a donation today. Thanks, AACR. 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives. Great job by the audience today donating.
Absolutely. And by the way, I did tweet out the parlay. So A Salciunas 975. I saw that you retweeted it. I saw that Connor retweeted it. I appreciate it. So if you don't follow me, which I don't blame you, and you follow John and follow Connor, we did tweet out the parlay that we put out there. Hopefully you're going to win some money for it tonight. Everybody, enjoy the game tonight. If you're not home and you can't watch it, you can listen to the game here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Bob Cooney coming your way next. Kincade and Salciunas will be back here tomorrow.